If your internet has ever dropped when you're just trying to change shows, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. I think we're back. I hope we're back. Hopefully Comcast doesn't torpedo our efforts like they normally do. Cannot wait to cancel Comcast, by the way. Absolutely hate that company so much. But anyway, we're back here today. We've got a lot to go through here today. Big news with Google and Apple. Who's long, Apple or Google? Yep, right here. Really good stuff there. So we're going to cover all of that. We got Tim Melvin coming on here today. We've got a Jolt's job openings coming at 10. So we're going to have kind of a busy day here today. Really looking forward to make some more money. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Wednesday, September 3rd edition, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Hope that you all had a wonderful Tuesday evening, and I hope you sports fans are as happy as I am because we are one day closer to the NFL kickoff. One day closer. We're going to make it, folks. I promise we're going to make it. All right. Let's go ahead and say hello to everybody. As a reminder, I see the producer posting something must have happened before the show started here. Please don't spam the chat. The chat is supposed to be a space for actionable ideas and discussions. Spam doesn't help. You will be timed out. And if you continue to abuse it, you'll probably be kicked out. And nobody wants that. So listen to the producer. Don't spam the chat. Nonetheless, good morning, producer. Sun-Kissed Yogi is first here today. Good morning, Sun-Kissed Yogi. Hope you are well. Cad Monkey, good morning. Francis, good morning. Zach, good morning. Benzie Gang. We definitely need that on a shirt. I agree, Zach. We need to get the shirt. I blame myself. It's totally my fault. I keep saying, hey, 13, we should do this. And then when work ends, we talk about other things and watch sports, which is honestly what happens. So anyway, it's my fault. I do take full responsibility for that. We really should spin up some shirts here. You folks are great for wanting to support us. We should absolutely answer the call. I'll get on that. Big Dave, good morning. Welcome back. Billy, good morning. Welcome back. Ethan, howdy. I like that. Howdy, Ethan. Welcome. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here today. Azrar, it's great to see you again. Welcome back. Candace, likewise. Welcome back. Jeremy, good to see you again. Welcome back. Glass half full. Always, baby. Always half full. Welcome back. We will definitely find some stuff to trade here. Chuck, good morning. It's good to see you as always. Jane, likewise. Great to see you. Bigabees, locked and loaded. Happy Wednesday. Bigabees, we are out here. We're going to look for some more things to trade here today. It's great to have you locked in, ready to go. Cam, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Brandy, good morning. Empyrean, good morning. Yeah, so Empyrean, we're going to talk about this. Did anyone see Marjorie Taylor Greene's new buys? Might be the next Pelosi. She got Google and Pepsi last week. Indeed, I think it was 5 days ago that she got Google. The result of this is I am going to look for our developers to create some type of module that alerts us to new buys. Right now, you can check for government buys in Pro for any stock. And had you have checked Google or Pepsi, you might have seen that there was a new purchase there. But I think what I would rather do is aggregate all new purchases and then start from the top down approach, right? See what are people buying? What are people in Congress buying? And then look at all of those stocks and think about what potential upcoming catalysts we have here. We already have the data for this. So I think Pro could do some of the work in terms of finding new stocks for us a little bit better. And I'm thinking about that, Empyrean. We're going to talk about that a little bit today in one of the meetings. Now, I can't say if she's going to be the next Pelosi. I think the show has done a really good job of outlining that basically anybody in these positions, you have to look at them with a skeptical eye, right? They probably know something. They continue to prove it over and over again. I guess it's my only hope here that some folks in the group ended up making money off of that. But we can't change what politicians do, but what we can do is develop some tools to help us track it, and maybe we can profit off the back of that. So we'll see. I am thinking about that, Empyrean. Jay Grant, good morning. Welcome back. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Abby, good morning. Just passing through, good morning. Tom, good morning. Austin, good morning. All That Glitters, good morning. Howdy, even. Good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle. Listening while staining my deck. Awesome. You should. What do you stain your deck every year, every other year? Let me know what the cadence is for that. Do you have real wood? What kind of stain are you using? Just curious. Zoo, good morning. Welcome back. Gary, it's good to see you as always. John, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Big Milkshake Trading, good morning. Corey, good morning. Youssef, good morning. Wiss, good morning. Wiss, I got to be honest with you. Cubs need all the wins they can get right now. So really happy that they're beating up on the Braves. I hope they continue to do that. I'm sorry. But welcome back. It's good to see you. Crim Biscuit, good morning. Ed, good morning. Joseph, good morning. Ari Stock Market, good morning. Billy Seeley 4, good morning. Mama Bear, good morning. Good to see you again. Aubrey, good morning. Nice to meet you yesterday, Aubrey. Keep at it. Really good stuff. Prapul, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Good morning. Billy saying, how high can Apple go today? You know, we're going to take a look at Apple here today. I'd love to see 240 prints. I'd love to see some 240 prints. GB Slice, good morning. Smita, good morning. And Billy C4. I think I already said good morning, but we're going to do it again. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stock market today. All right, futures here rebounding off of yesterday's weakness. S&P futures here up about 0.43%, so just over 0.4 here. Dow futures down 0.05, basically unchanged. And the NASDAQ up 0.7 on the back of the Google and Apple news that we are going to discuss. Now, yesterday, most sectors for the S&P 500 closed on a negative note, with industrials, real estate, and information technology stocks recording the biggest losses on Tuesday. However, energy and healthcare stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session higher. U.S. stocks settled lower overall. All major indices recorded gains for August. The 30-stock Dow gained more than 3% in August, while the S&P 500 recorded a 2% surge. The tech-heavy NASDAQ also gained around 1.6% during the month. On the economic front, the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI came in at 53 for August, compared to the preliminary reading of 53.3 and versus 49.8 in July. U.S. construction spending declined by 0.1 month over month to an annual rate of $2,139.1 billion. In July. The ISM manufacturing PMI rose to 48.7 in August compared to the 48.0 in the previous month, but this came in short of market estimates of 49. NEO shares, ticker NIO, gained around 3% on Tuesday after the company reported fiscal second quarter results. Signet Jewelers, parent company of Kay Jewelers, ticker SIG, reported better than expected earnings for the second quarter on Tuesday. President Trump signed an executive order targeting a fourfold increase in domestic nuclear power production over 25 years. The initiative has provided bipartisan support for nuclear energy after decades of stagnation. Meanwhile, Scott Bessent highlighted the potential economic upsides of the tariffs, predicting that revenue surge from duties could significantly lift the U.S. economy. Quote, every $300 billion adds 1% to GDP, he said. With tariffs alone, growth could hit 5%. Also, according to the recommendations shared by the president's working group on digital asset markets, the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission announced a joint initiative on Tuesday to streamline the trading process of cryptocurrency assets. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.29%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.66%. All right, so as mentioned here, we are higher today after the opening of September, if you will, yesterday as we traded down. First thing that I'm going to say here today, let's actually go back. I'm going to come back to these insights here in a sec, but let's start with the chart since I haven't done that yet. Big thing here today is going to be still that 20-day moving average. Obviously, yesterday we gapped beneath it, and in the regular session, as we traded up off of the morning lows, we simply did not have the strength to recapture and close above the 20-day. Today in the pre-market, we're actually gapping above this level. As you can see here, that level is actually at 641.39. We're at 643.15 here in the pre-market. So the big key is, can we close above this? Is this just kind of a blip in an overall trend that is still higher? Or is this the market trying to figure out where the top is and then maybe start a down move here in September? Some of the insights that we're going to take a look at paint a picture for both sides of that. I'd be curious to know, I know we only have one data point so far. We only have one trading day of September, but I'd be curious to know if anyone here thinks that maybe we'll buck the seasonality that everybody out there seems to be expecting. So just kind of looking at levels here today, it is worth noting that that 50-day is down at 631.48. Let's just call it 631.5. But the more immediate level right here is clearly going to be the 20-day. Can we close above that? Can we then maybe resume to the upside here and then challenge that all-time high, which we have right here at 649.48? We'll see what direction, the SPY goes today. Probably also worth taking a look at the Qs here today. In a little bit different situation, but Qs being affected by some of the big news that broke in the after hours yesterday and has continued to affect both Google, Apple, and the rest of the technology sector overnight here. You can see the Qs yesterday, very similar deal. We traded down out of the open and bounced midday. This actually took us to the 50-day moving average, and we successfully tested and held the 563.12 level. Today, we're bouncing just like we are in the SPY. We're trading back up, but we are just shy of that 20-day. So the key level for the Qs also going to be that 20-day moving average. The value a little bit different here, 572.41. So let's see if we can recapture this 20-day. I would imagine here if tech cannot get above, or if the Qs cannot get above this 20-day moving average, we're probably going to use that as resistance and reverse. That would be my guess. So going back to that initial question about how high can Apple go? Well, I'd like to see it try 240, maybe even trade above 240, but I think that it's going to be capped based on whatever the Qs are doing here. If the Qs find resistance there at 572 and they just simply cannot trade over it, I suspect that you will see some people sell Apple, and that might mark the near-term top. Now, of course, everything can change if we get some random truth or random piece of news. So that's always something to consider. But just kind of taking a look where we are right now. Started September off with some down arrows, and it looks like we might be trying to bounce here. Question is this a bull trap? We'll see. We should have more data to determine that here today. Let's go take a look at some of the insights from analysts after a strong summer that saw the S&P 500 post its fourth consecutive month of gains in August. Investors now face a period of heightened uncertainty. The calendar is flipped to September, a month that has historically been, quote, the weakest month for equities, end quote. This seasonal headwind is now coupled with dire warnings from top financial minds about the country's fiscal health, creating a tense standoff between the market's recent momentum and looming macroeconomic risks. However, LPL Financial suggests that September's bad reputation may not apply this year. Their analysis shows that when markets enter the month with a strong upward momentum, as it has now, historical performance has actually been positive on average, even for September. This optimistic view is bolstered by a stellar second quarter earnings season. And really quick, let me pause right there. This was actually a point that Stephanie Link was trying to make very early in the morning on CNBC. She joined the crew in studio. They brought her on for several different segments, and she continued to say, yeah, I get the seasonality, I get the weakness, but earnings are strong. And in fact, stronger than people thought. Looks like LPL saying the same thing here. Where S&P earnings were per share, growth is tracking near 12%, more than double what was expected at the quarter's start. Furthermore, the rally is broadening beyond big tech, with the S&P 600 small cap index having its best month of outperformance in over a year during August. I'm going to pause right there because, again, one of the things that I'm personally looking for is more continued rotation out of some of the big cap tech names that have a ton of concentration in them to smaller small cap names. I think that would be ideal, not only for what we do here on a kind of a short-term basis, but I also think this would help set up bigger wealth moves if you're able to find quality companies at low prices before they actually reach critical mass. LPL concludes LPL concludes that these factors point to a bull market on solid footing, though it advises investors to brace for potential volatility. Seems like they're riding the fence a little bit there. In stark contrast, billionaire investor Ray Dalio is sounding the alarm on America's fiscal trajectory. He warns that massive deficit spending will, quote, likely cause a debt-induced heart attack in the relatively near future, end quote, giving a timeline of 3 years, give or take a year or two. Where were you a couple years ago, Dalio? Dalio points to the U.S. government spending roughly $7 trillion annually against revenues of only $5 trillion, a gap fueling a national debt that now exceeds $37 trillion. If we go back to what Bessent was saying, it looks like part of the plan here is to use those tariffs to close that gap. His concerns are shared by JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, easy for me to say, sorry for messing it up, Jamie, who predicts investors will eventually, quote, see a crack in the bond market, end quote. Dalio attributes the problem to unchecked spending and tax cuts, which the Congressional Budget Office estimates will add another $4.1 trillion to the debt over the next decade. Investors find themselves caught between two compelling narratives. On one hand, the market's current health, characterized by strong earnings and broadening participation, suggests resilience. LPL notes that even if a drawdown occurs, seasonal trends historically turn into tailwinds from October to December. On the other hand, the foundational risk of an unsustainable debt burden cannot be ignored. While corporate America appears strong, the warnings from Dalio and Dimon about long-term fiscal stability pose a significant threat that could eventually disrupt the market's positive trend. The key question is whether strong fundamentals can continue to outweigh the nation's precarious balance sheet. Now, if we take a step back from all of this back and forth here, I suspect this is why you're seeing gold up almost every day. Lion, shout out to you. I know you've been talking quite a bit about gold. It looks like that's a play that other investors are flocking to. And it sure looks like there's no slowing down on that. In fact, we took a look at this in Happy Hour. Let me go back to the chart here. It's worth mentioning since we're talking about it. Here's what the gold chart looks like. And you got a breakout of the top of this triangle here. Silver actually looks very similar. Really quick, before we move away from just kind of this general thing, is anyone besides Lion, we know Lion is a gold bug, is anyone else trading gold? And I guess more specifically, is anyone looking to initiate new positions on any of these ETFs, gold, silver, or otherwise? Here's a look at your silver ETF, ticker SLV. This is also breaking out of a very similar triangle. So a lot of these charts look the same. A lot of these charts look pretty bullish. Day trader, I'm long silver. Awesome. Awesome. Ahmed says, I prefer bonds on gold. Okay. Nathan says, I'm just going to recap that article really quick. The stock market could go up in the future, but it might go down. Nathan, I understand that you're tongue in cheek, and I totally get it. You know, I'm one of the things that I like to do is I tried to provide a opinion on both sides of these things from some of these analysts for two reasons. Number one, I think that we make a better case if we understand both sides of the argument. That goes for anything. But number two, you know, I want to see if we can maybe hold some of these predictions accountable in the future if they end up working or if they end up not working. Good morning, Yassine. Good morning, OKC. Good morning, PDK. OKC says gold 3,600. That's the top. Are you calling the top 3,600? Let me just make sure. I said it 6 months ago on here. That was a good call. Gold continued to trade higher. So clarify that for us. Do you think 3,600 is the top? Do you think there's more room on this? Let me know. Kathy says, I have 30% of my portfolio in gold and mining stocks, and I'm looking to add more. Lion says, yes, Ryan, I keep pounding the table on gold and silver and uranium for the past 2 years. We're well aware the table has a mark in it from where you've been hitting it. Okay. And then GB Slice says Bitcoin instead of gold. I was hoping someone was going to say that here today. I was hoping. Kevin here, long on silver, 40 contracts. That should be a nice, healthy trade. Okay. Lions call gold going to 4,000 here. Okay. All right, good stuff there on that. Well, let's keep taking a look at some of those metal stocks and ETFs and see if we can't come up with a good setup for that. Really good stuff here from the group early on. All right, now let's talk about, without a doubt, the biggest news article from yesterday in the after hours and then overnight. This is not only affecting Apple and Google specifically, but this is also weighing on the rest of tech here. Alphabet stock hits a new all-time high after the judge issues a ruling in the antitrust case. What happened here? U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta on Tuesday ruled Google will not be required to divest its Android operating system or sell off Google Chrome. That's per Reuters. Quote, Google will not be required to divest Chrome, nor will the court include a contingent divestiture of the Android operating system in the final judgment. Plaintiffs' overreach is seeking forced divestiture of these key assets, Mehta wrote in the decision. The ruling comes after a 5-year legal battle between Alphabet and the U.S., in which district judge ruled last year that Google had an illegal monopoly in its search business. Apple, on the other hand, Apple shares were also moving higher in extended trading, last up about 3.7%. Apple holding 238 here, actually traded above 239 briefly this morning, and is looking to make a run at that 240. Apple was last up 3.7% after Meta ruled that Google will not have to cease payments to Apple for preloading Google products. So I don't think we expect any change there. Producers got a great poll here. I want to know from the group, what would you rather hold for the end of 2025? All right, so let's call this a swing long till the end of the year. Would you prefer to be in Google or would you prefer to be in Apple? Let's get that poll out there. Let's get as much participation in that as we can. I am very curious to see the results of that. The positive rulings appear to be overshadowing a ruling that Google will now have to share data with competitors to create more room for competition in online search. The company previously said it would appeal such a ruling, as Google believes it would allow competitors to reverse engineer its technology. So this, to me, is the interesting part of the whole story here. They don't have to stop this right now. They don't have to get rid of Chrome. They don't have to get rid of Android. That makes a lot of sense to me. They do have to share some information here, so it'll be very curious to see if there's any ground made up or if there are any other search methods that end up rivaling Google search. We'll see how this all shakes out here. Google stock not really caring about that here today, as that was trading up over 7% earlier today. Now, Jim Cramer had an opinion on this. So we'll talk about that too. CNBC's Jim Cramer launched a fiery defense of Apple on Wednesday, claiming a pivotal U.S. court ruling has fundamentally reshaped the tech giant's artificial intelligence strategy, allowing it to get paid for AI rather than funding an expensive catch-up. Interesting. In a series of posts on social media platform X, Cramer blasted naysayers and argued that Wall Street is failing to grasp the, quote, incredible importance, end quote, of the development of Apple's future. Cramer argues that Apple, long criticized for lagging in the AI race, no longer needs to spend a fortune to compete. Instead, he contends a major AI player like Google will now pay Apple billions to integrate its technology, like Gemini, into Apple's vast ecosystem. Now, let me pause right there, because we've all been talking about how Apple really isn't innovating like they used to. It's one of the big drawbacks for those that want to buy and hold stock, despite the fact that their balance sheet is a fortress, and they've basically turned the iPhone into a service as opposed to a piece of hardware. All of that aside here, I don't think this is what people wanted from Apple when they talked about them getting into AI. I'm not sure how great it is that Apple's AI angle is simply getting paid to use it from Google. I suspect that what Apple would rather do is create their own AI system that integrates with Siri in a way that no competitors can match. I'm not sure this is the end game here, but this to me is an interesting angle to take on this. Quote, instead of buying AI, it will have a rich company pay IT to take that company's AI, Cramer stated, adding that this negates fears of Apple writing a $200 billion check to NVIDIA for infrastructure. Remember, Google pays Apple right now to include Chrome in its offerings. Not only will that check not have to stop, but Apple won't have to turn around and give $200 billion to somebody else. The catalyst for Cramer's analysis was a decision on Tuesday by the U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta. We talked about that a little bit. While the judge previously found that Google held an illegal search monopoly, he rejected the Department of Justice's call to force a breakup of the company. The ruling sent Alphabet shares up 6.7% and Apple up 2.9%. Both of those stocks were actually higher this morning. Cramer dismissed recent negative stories about AI talent departing Apple as plants, suggesting they were irrelevant now that the company has a clear path to monetize its platform through an AI partnership, turning a massive perceived cost into a significant new revenue stream. One more thing here that I wanted to add real quick, and this will wrap it up. We'll go talk about Tim Melvin, or we'll talk to Tim Melvin. We won't talk about him. We'll talk with him. Alphabet surge. Oh, sorry. On Tuesday, I wanted to get to some of these. I've already read a lot of these here. Sorry. Dan Ives. Here we go. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives, Permatech Bull, as we know him here on the show. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives, called the decision, quote, a huge win, end quote, for Google and Apple, adding that it removes a major overhang for both companies. Good news for big tech. The regulator's bark is bigger than the bite, said Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management. Shots fired right there. Noting that Apple's lucrative Google search deal, estimated to account for 15% of Apple's operating income, has survived. That's why you're seeing Apple trade up here today. Investment advisor Ross Gerber echoed the sentiment, posting on X, Google gets off with a slap on the hand and the stock roars higher. Love it. But it's not all fun and games out there. We got to have some of the negative, right? We got to have the angry, shakes fist at sky, folks. Senator Elizabeth Warren criticized the court's decision, arguing that the Donald Trump administration should appeal to break up the big tech giant. In a post on X, she also raised concerns about separate negotiations between Google, YouTube executives, and Trump's legal team over a longstanding censorship lawsuit, calling the talks, quote, dubious, end quote, and a sign of, quote, corruption in plain sight, end quote. Of course, she offered nothing to support that. She's just throwing daggers around because that's what she does. Last month, several senators, including Warren and Senator Bernie Sanders, sent a letter to Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai and YouTube CEO Neil Mohan asking if settlement discussions with Trump's lawyers involved promises of favorable treatment. Here's what I have for Elizabeth Warren. That's what I got. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and bring on one of our favorite guests that we have here regularly. Let's see what Tim Melvin has for us today. Tim, good morning. How you doing here today? Happy Wednesday.
We're doing great, Ryan. As always, it's Wednesday. We've got the youngest granddaughter here driving my wife absolutely bonkers this week. My son's got some sales calls in the area, so he brought the youngest up to stay. So not quite the full speed ahead thing we did with the 7-year-old a week ago that had me ready for the hospital at the end of the week. But good times around the house here. Anyway, the Google decision was not a surprise. I mean, I'm always shocked by the people that were surprised by these things. If we get into an environment where we apply 19th century antitrust laws to the giant technology companies, we will handicap our nation badly. Okay. Tech is a race. It's kind of a war. All right. It's mainly between us and China, although India, I guess, has a horse in this thing. And whoever gets to AI, the higher levels of AI and quantum computing first wins. And they win big, by the way. You win the next century or so. In order to do that, you have to have enormous amounts of capital investment. We don't do it from the government level in this country. We do it from the private sector level, which means if you break these big companies up, it's like taking the rifles away from your soldiers in this particular battle. You can't break up big tech. And by the way, just for the record, write it down. You heard it here first. Google is going to absolutely eat Apple. Apple will be lucky to be a manufacturing company
Wow.
within 10 to 15 years because they're not keeping up in AI, and they're going to have somebody else's AI, right? And they're not going to have to write the big check to NVIDIA. If they don't develop their own artificial intelligence uh, technology to interact with Siri, as you said, and the other parts of their platform,
Yeah.
they become completely irrelevant. Probably within the next 5 years, that starts. So
Wow.
anyway, there's Tim's wild ass prediction for.
Hey, you know what? I love it. We bring you on here. You're clearly listening to what we were discussing prior to your arrival, and you come in with a bam. It's like Emerald, like you're kicking up a dish here. That's awesome. That's exactly what we're looking for, Tim.
Well, here's the dish that we need to talk about today, and it's not going to be quite as tasty, shall we say. The big news yesterday was not the Google ruling. That was not the most important thing that happened. Okay, it was the global bond sell-off. Right, everybody's bonds, UK, Finland, Germany, Denmark, Japan, and the United States. Everybody's bond market, the long end, went right into the dumper yesterday. Okay, we almost hit 5 on the 30-year. Here in the United States, we had like 4.997. More concerning to me is there had been a really strong, favorable trend rally in the 10-year, and that absolutely, we lost the 20-day in that yesterday. You also lost the 20-day in the Qs and the SPY. All right. So a lot happened yesterday, but the big driver is the long end of the bond market. And we can psychoanalyze this and we can say it's this and it's that. And I talked to a lot of bond traders over the course of the evening last night, and here's kind of what it is. Nobody wants to own the long end of anything. All right. And part of it is a huge part of this now is related to the United States. All right. The fractured trade relationships, everybody's concerned about this month's government spending bill because here's a shocker. Relations between the Democrats and the Republicans have actually deteriorating. They're getting worse, not better. So agreements that seemed like a slam dunk to keep the government operating 6 months ago are contentious now. And this is all being reflected in the long end. But then you've got immigration problems in Europe. You've got concerns over the budget in Europe. You've got right-wing parties gaining steam who want to put austerity measures in many, in France, it's a role in Poland, and they want to stop government spending, do some cuts. That's always a difficult path. Everybody is uncertain about what the future holds, about what's going on with the fracturing of longstanding trade relationships. And a lot of people that I talked to admitted that everybody on the desk kind of pooped a little bit when they saw that picture of Putin, Modi, and Kim and Xi. That was, like, uh-oh, these guys are all hanging out and they don't like us and they're talking, and that might not be good for us. So we've just got this big cloud of uncertainty around the global bond markets. Ultimately, that has the potential to be really bad for global equity markets. Okay, but especially the U.S. Losing the 20-day in the Q and the SPY, nobody really kind of made much of it, but that's kind of a big deal.
That's actually what I started with when I took a look at the chart here. It does look like the SPY is actually setting up to recapture that 20. Qs have some more work to do and actually might use that as resistance. The other thing here is that we don't know where the SPY is going to close here today. Maybe it does peak above that 20, but maybe we sell off and retest yesterday's lows.
Yeah, I tend to only take an actionable measurement on that on a weekly close. So if it closed there below Friday, otherwise you will make yourself nuts and get whipsawed 2 or 3 times in a week where actually nothing really happened. So, you need to look at it on a weekly close, but you've got to keep an eye on global bond markets here. Now, Ryan, do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yes, absolutely you do. In Restream there, the middle icon looks like a computer monitor with an up arrow. Okay. And if you click on that, you should be able to share whatever you want. I'll go ahead and add it to the stream.
Okay. Now I have not gone full blown wonky on the morning show yet, where we just kind of really get into numbers and math and some of the things that's going on out there. We're going to do it today. Okay. We're going to look at some stuff that this is what I look at when I'm measuring the world. And as I'm fond of saying, none of what I'm going to talk to you about today is precise timing stuff. It's not about when you're going to get thrown out the window. It's about what floor you're on when you get tossed. Right. So
I'll try and remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go through some stuff that I think you need to be aware of in the background and from a longer term point of view, certainly, but it's going to begin to influence trading. So let's just talk about a few things here. And let me just share my screen. Okay, we want to go to this one right. We're going to start right here. Okay, customize data. Let's close this out. All right, everybody should see the ICE B of A high yield index option and spread. Yep. Okay, guys, this is for Lord of the Ring fans. This is the one chart to rule them all. Okay, this is the single most important chart in all of finance, in my not so humble opinion. Now, this simply measures the spreads between the yields on high yield bonds in aggregate, everything double B all the way down. You can do this with double B's only or triple C's only, but the composite spread works better. Now, we're going to go to the max showing here. And by the way, I had some genius not too long ago. He's like, wow, this thing only goes back into the 1980s. How come it doesn't go any further back? 1990s. Well, I got to be honest, because until the 1980s, there wasn't a high yield bond market. Right? You had fallen angel bonds, but you didn't have what we today consider the high yield bond market. Michael Milken didn't really get together with guys like Howard Marks and some other folks and invent that market until the early to mid 1980s. So there really nobody was tracking spreads until into the 90s. But when you look at this spread, all right, high yield credit spreads, when they start to rise, that's horrific for markets, right? This really does the single best job of measuring fear, greed, complacency, concern. When you have very tight compressed spreads like you do now, we closed Friday at a 2.75, which is an extraordinarily low. I can't get it to get over there, but 2.75 was the daily close on Friday. That's, as you can see, historically very low. Now, there's lots of reasons for that. I'm going to show you one now. Okay, now you should see the Chicago Fed National Financial Conditions Index.
No, still have the high yield index. There might be a tab at the top of your browser. It's a little blue thing that says share this tab instead.
Oh, there is. Yep, little blue thing.
It's like I've done this before. Okay. And really quickly, Tim, would you mind either putting it in the chat yourself or giving me the web address? Brandy here is asking, can you post that website link for this chart?
Yes, and this is okay. So I want to stop sharing the high yield bonds. Okay, and I want to come over here. I want to go to Chicago Fed, and it no longer has a blue link.
Yeah, because you stopped the sharing, you'll have to click the share button in Restream, and then instead share the new page that you'd like to share.
Okay, well, let's do it that way. Sorry, guys, I'm not exactly the world's technological genius. There we go.
I thought you were inventing the next AI chip, so that's news for me. I'm going to have to adjust my thinking.
No, that was a potato chip, Brian. I was working on an artificial potato chip.
I'm not sure I want that.
This is the Chicago Fed National Financial Conditions Index. And by the way, this is all
still not sharing. Oh, never mind. That's my fault. This is my fault, Tim. This one's my fault. Here you go.
Thank goodness. Okay. This is the Chicago Fed National Financial Conditions Index. Now, when you hear, and I don't care who it is, right? When somebody from the administration, the Treasury Secretary says, oh, financial conditions are too tight, we need to lower 1 million basis points. Or Powell himself said, conditions are still real restrictive. Pull this chart up and take a look at it, right? If the number's above the zero line, financial conditions are restrictive. If it's below the zero line, they're quite accommodating. As you can see, because now this doesn't just incorporate Fed funds and Fed policy. This is real world. It's banking, it's shadow banking, it's private credit. It's kind of everything that goes into our financial system, right? And we're measuring the availability of credit, the willingness to accept risk, the pricing of risk, the general business climate. And what you can see is no, conditions are not restrictive at all. They were a little bit restrictive in 2020. Okay. They're not now. But you can see when this thing ticks up, like if you go back and you're looking here in 2007 and they start to, the whole world goes bluey, a very important technical term to remember, right after that happened. And you can see the same thing as they begin to peak going into 2000. Everything does get a little weird when conditions start to tighten up. Right now, they're loose and they're getting looser. And that's one of the reasons that credit spreads, okay, share this tab instead. There's my little button.
Boom. There you go.
Boom. That's why one of the reasons this spread is so tight right now. Okay. Financial conditions are loose. Credit is available. Credit conditions, right? And we always hear about the debt bombs and the fears, and they're just, what they are is at this point garbage. Government bonds have a problem. Consumers, individuals, all doing fine. When you look at the internals of the banking system, there's no credit issues at all, right? Loan losses and delinquencies are actually running below pre-pandemic levels right now. So we don't have any, real big problems developing in the banking system. Even private credit is looking pretty good on the internals. So there's a reason spreads are tight. Things are pretty good. By the way, this environment is massively good for momentum investment styles. Okay. So, but now when you've got a really tight spreads like this, what you have to be concerned with, and again, look at what happens when spreads start to move higher. It gets really ugly really fast. You can see it in the taper tantrum. You can see that spreads start going higher before we knew COVID was a thing. Okay. And then as it becomes obvious that it's a thing, spreads blew way out to over 7.5%. Now, the most exciting part about this chart, two? One, excellent early warning. When it gets this tight, get nervous. Okay. It's okay to be long. It's not okay to be a super aggressive buyer. When you see spreads peak and begin to move back down, those will be the greatest buying opportunities of your lifetime. It does not happen all the time, but it does happen with enough frequency to be an incredibly valuable tool.
Okay, and I went ahead and tracked these charts down while you were talking. I put both links here in the chat. This comes from fred.stlouisfed.org, and then you search for the correct charts, correct?
Yes, and look.
Perfect.
Every economic chart that you ever wanted is in there. And they're free, and you can combine them. So like I could overlay the S&P 500 with the high yield option spread index. You could get 3 or 4 different lines. You could play with the time frames. The time frame, you can go daily, weekly ending on Friday, weekly ending on Wednesday. This is all free from the St. Louis Fed. Well, it's not free. You pay taxes. But it's available with no further surcharge. Compliments of the St. Louis Federal Reserve, and it is the most comprehensive publicly available economic database out there. So you can do some really cool stuff with the graphs, and there's lots of great information in here. But these are the two they're the ones every week. These get checked because we're looking for changes in these. Because they're going to tell you you turn the TV off when the economic commentators come on. Those guys are wrong more than weather forecasters anyway. So why listen to them? Everything you need, everything that you need to know is pretty much going to be in these two charts.
Okay.
Now
we learn something every day here, Tim. Those two charts put in the chat. By the way, I got a couple of requests, or I got a request here for the stocks from yesterday. I know that you had sent me those Excel spreadsheets. There were a couple of people that emailed me this morning. I went ahead and sent those out. Folks, if I had another way of sharing that, I would, but the only way I have is via email. So if you want that, let me know. Happy to pass it along. All right, Tim, what else you got for us?
What else we got? Okay, we're going to keep going into these numbers now, okay? Right now, the price to earnings ratio on the S&P 500 on a let's do forward PE for forward earnings first. Okay, that's the wrong screen. It's currently at 23.75. Anytime the forward PE, the price to earnings ratio based on the next 12 months analyst estimates is over 22. Your returns over the next decade is plus or minus 2%. And that comes to you courtesy of the lovely folks at JP Morgan. We're there. We're at 23.75. P ratios are extremely elevated in here. Now, when we look at the actual PE ratio, it's 29. Okay. Let me just see. Now, this is one I am going to share with you because there's something important on here. Do you have that, Ryan? The S&P 500 PE ratio going back a ways?
I do not. S&P 500
just,
PE ratio.
No, that's okay. I've got it on a different chart.
Okay,
I've got it. I got to share my screen. Okay, here's a 90-year historical chart. Get rid of the commercial there. There we go. All right, is it up?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is a really important chart because we can see here we are. We're out here. We're at 29 as of the close yesterday. Now, this is the highest reading since the great since the bursting of the internet bubble, where earnings were rising. All right. When you look at some of these other figures, okay, we were a little higher here last year and going into 2020, but you had an earnings depression, right? This was taken in December 20. All the 6 months comps were a disaster because retail was closed, restaurants were closed, bars were closed, businesses were closed. They were not making any money. So we were in an earnings depression. We were trading at a high multiple of very depressed earnings. There were no earnings back here. Everybody was writing off everything in the great financial crisis. The write-offs from the bigger banks wiped out the earnings of just about every company in the S&P 500 because they were so large at the time. So there were no earnings. So we're trading at 122, but it's of depressed earnings. Same thing going into 19 into here. You're coming off of September 11th, 2001. You've got the bursting of the internet bubble. So you've got another earnings, recession, depression starting there. So you're trading at a high multiple of depressed earnings. We're trading at this ridiculously high multiple of growing earnings. So this looks a lot, and I know that you're probably tired of hearing it. This looks a lot like the late 1990s as you're getting into 2000.
Do you think we're going to get a 2000 style crash? Just straight up. Do you think we're going to get a huge, oh my God, jump out the window, move down?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay. I do. And I'll tell you why. And I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong, and I have absolutely that much money bet on this. Okay. I will make bets, and I have made bets that the next 10 years, you're better off with fixed income than large cap stock indexes. That if you're not starting to look into small cap deep value and small cap momentum, you are making with your longer term portfolios. I'm not going to talk about the stuff that you guys do here, in your day trading. Your longer term portfolios, if you're not thinking small, you're making a big mistake. Okay. So I do think that the next 10 years will look like 1999 to 2010. I think they're going to look a lot like it. And again, we've got a big technology that's coming on. It's going to change the economy. It's going to do a lot of things, but it's not going to do quite everything that they're telling us it's going to do. There will be far more losing companies than there will be winning companies in AI. And that's one of the things with the Google. AI is going to be dominated by very large companies that have access to lots of energy. The big play in AI, get down the food chain now. Start looking at banks, start looking at energy, start looking at insurance, because that's the second tier. All right. But I wanted to kind of get in here and throw these out because I share these numbers all the time, and I've never shared them here on the morning show. Right.
There's a first time for everything, Tim.
I don't. And as I said, I cannot tell you when we're going to get thrown out the window. I can tell you what floor we're on. Okay. And we passed the top floor about 3 months ago. So we are at very elevated levels. If this global bond rout turns into fear, and the seeds of that are there, right? If you look at what happened in Ukraine last night, you look at continued schisms, and whether you agree with the policy or not, doesn't matter. It's creating schisms in long-standing trade relationships. There's very real concerns about the independence of the Fed. And again, doesn't matter how you feel about it, the global markets are going to hate it. The domestic markets are going to hate it. if they feel like the Fed has lost their independence. Because if you think about the long-term implications of that, it's terrifying, right? It's because we're not just talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about every president that precedes Donald Trump controlling the Fed. That's terrifying. Could you imagine, uh, just go with Jimmy Carter or or Joe Biden in charge of the Fed? It's no. So there's a lot of serious concerns that can turn into something of a rout if they continue to go wrong. So we've got to watch those global bonds. Be aware we are at stratospheric valuations. Somebody wrote cash is king. I'm going to go you one better, because in most of our portfolios, the only place we're really fully invested, Ryan, is in trade alerts. And that's because we have such a big momentum capacity to that, but we're ready to bail at any time. But like in Benzinga Yield Report, we're very cautious. We're not fully invested there. Cash is not only king, it's a tool, right? It's a lot of my success in life and markets. It comes from having cash when things go bluey. Remember, bluey is a very important technical term. You need to have that written down somewhere. I have a bluey button that you can push. So when things get really bad in the markets and things are puking up, if you've got cash, you have a tool. Okay. So now, on to other fun stuff, because you don't sit here to listen to me ramble about these boring.
Well, you have scared the hell out of a lot of people here in the chat, so I hope you have something to give them, because you got a lot of people worried here.
Listen, I want you to be worried. Okay, you're at stratospheric levels. You're at very high levels, and there's a lot of fear, and a lot can go wrong. And we're dancing along. If you look at spreads and some other things at the VIX, we're dancing like there's nothing wrong in the world. Right? Bond volatility levels, as measured by the MOVE index, are back to 2021 levels. They look like nobody could spell transitory, like back then before we learned how to spell the word. And that's not correct. There's a lot more going on in the world. So, and I'm not saying bail and get everything. I'm saying you just need to be really kind of cautious here, folks. There's a lot that could go wrong. Holding what you own is a good idea. I would not be dumping money in an index fund right now.
No, and in fact, one of the things that we've been kind of saying here as a general theme is you should be diversifying, right? How many times have we brought you on here to bring some high dividend stocks that you feel comfortable holding and just getting paid? How many times have you said, hey, get that money and put it in your pocket?
Yep.
They can't take the dividend back from you. I feel like you've said that a whole bunch.
I do say that a whole bunch. And here's the other thing. The gap between the performance and the valuation of small cap and large cap and value and growth are both like this wide, right? I mean, see, the screen won't even hold it. That's how wide they are, right? They're the widest they've been since the 1990s. And you know what happened in the 1990s, Ryan, at the end of the 1990s, when everything went to bluey in 2000? All of a sudden, small cap and deep value, you put that combination together, it went on a almost 20-year bull market run of outperformance. And then it stopped, right? So now we're coming into a very long period of underperformance. The jaws are this wide again. If we have a lost decade, keep in mind that small cap deep value and small banks in particular over the next decade would have given you returns of close to 20% annually, while everybody else was tracking water and going through crashes. So if you don't have small cap deep value and momentum in your portfolio, I think you're making a mistake.
All right. You got any of those for us today?
I did not bring any of those. I'll bring a whole bunch. I'll bring a whole bunch next week. Let me just find this one little study. Hey, here we go. There's a very important study out there that you guys need to be aware of called Trading Against the Grain: Why Insiders Buy High and Sell Low. Now, insiders are usually value investors who buy close to the 52-week lows and they sell close to the 52-week highs. When they're buying near the 52-week highs, you're selling near the lows, something important has happened. They have information. This is the one time you can look at that and say, insiders probably know something I really don't know. They're not just buying a bargain. Okay. So when you see insider buying near 52-week highs, it's time to sit up and maybe pay a little bit of attention. So here's a couple. Pencils at the ready, please. That where insiders are buying at 52-week highs, or near 52-week highs. Hilltop Holdings, HTH, and I happen to love this company. Buying just a few ticks off of the 52-week high. This company was started by Gerald Ford, who currently runs the Ford Financial Fund, very wildly successful Texas-based bank investor for decades now. He's handed it off to a team that's running it. They've got a brokerage firm, they've got a very successful mortgage business, and they've got the bank. And this stock is just cranking along, operating in a very target-rich Texas environment, trading near the 52-week highs. So, and you've got decent-sized insider buy there recently. Huntington Ingalls Industries. Now, this one's fascinating because when you look at this,
what
stock,
was the ticker?
HII.
Okay.
Now, we all have seen the neo-mercantile moves by the Trump administration to put money. Let's just stop sharing here into various companies, and we think that they're going to do it in defense. I mean, the president's been talking about it. It fits into his strategy of what he's trying to do with defense, and shipbuilding is one of his favorite things. Huntington Ingalls, HII, is shipbuilder. They design and construct non-nuclear ships, amphibious assault ships, surface combatants, national security cutters. So they are a big. They build aircraft carriers. They're a big player in building the Navy of the future. At least one executive feels really good about this stock as the price is going higher, because we have Nick Stanage, a director, buying almost $1 million worth of stock last week. And that's buying it as it approaches and is sitting up near 52-week highs. Now, these guys, they're looking for a massive earnings increase next year compared to this, $17 versus $13. So there's decent growth there. There's going to be double-digit growth for the next several years. And there is a strong possibility of the administration taking an active role in this company, because, look, they talk about shipbuilding from a defense point of view all the time. If they're going to continue with this mercantile approach, this is one of the companies that's going to be at the top of their list to look at, I think.
Okay, so possible target here for a big stake. Those results in nice large move up. Good stuff here. HII. What else you got?
All right, PCB. PCB, shocking, is a bank corp. And we've got insider buying as it's approaching 52-week highs. This is a bank that does business, I believe, with the mostly Korean American market around Pacific City. They're the holding company for Pacific City Bank in Los Angeles. They have correspondent relationships in Asia. Very successful bank. Growing, kind of like crazy, going to keep growing for a while. Been a lot in the Asian ethnic banking market in the last 5 years, been a lot of M&A activity. And as we know, the administration has taken the handcuffs off of M&A. So we've seen some insider buying even as the stock moves higher.
Okay, PCB.
Yep. And then what you got to be watching out for at all times is the flip side of this. Remember, we've just told you all the things about valuation and where we are and the global debt bomb. So let's look at some companies where we're seeing selling near insider lows, because unless you really, really need the money, I mean, and I'm talking, you just got indicted and you got to pay your lawyer money. Why would you be selling a stock in what's been a rising market as it approaches 52-week lows, unless you had some reason to believe it was really going to go bad and go bad soon? So we have a couple of those. Altacian Corporation, symbols TEAM.
Team.
Yep. We have the chief technical officer and president both dumping stocks. They may have perfectly innocent reasons, but they sold $2.3 million worth of stocks, just 6% above a 52-week low. So that makes me go,
okay.
10 insiders combined to sell $20 million worth of stock, 5.5% above the lows in Procter & Gamble.
So PG.
And then the one that, is just goes, yeah, no, I don't like this. Graphic packaging company. They make boxes and shipping packages, and they're a global company. And we had two insiders team
What
up,
was the ticker on this one?
GPK. And
GPK.
by the way, it's a company and a business that I like a whole lot, particularly when we have a bad market and the stock is sold off.
I don't have
Because
a chart for it. That's weird.
GPK, George
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, no, it's pulling it here, but I don't have any chart data for it.
Wow.
Interesting. It's okay. It's probably an issue on my side. I'll report it here.
Yeah, but we've got $2 million worth of stock being sold as the stock approaches 52-week lows. Now, look, these guys, they're active in the Pacific Rim, they're active in the United States, in Europe. This is folding cartons to, if think about e-commerce and all the boxes that you have show up at your door, and boxes that stuff is shipped to stores, food, beverage, the little beer six packs, everything. These guys make everything. So now we've got insiders selling. We've got analysts lowering their estimates. We're looking for a decrease in earnings over the next 52 weeks and a stall speed of the next 5 years of less than 1% compounded annual growth. You take all that and the insider selling, there's a statement about the economy in there that I don't necessarily like a whole lot.
Okay.
So again, we just try to rely around the house, the dogs, the cats, and I, on data and information and not opinions and stories and hype. And we found that the instant experts of the internet tend to be highly unreliable. So, but when we look at insider selling in very economic sensitive companies, the global bond route is a big deal, Ryan. We really have to watch that one. But when you look at all those other numbers that I told you about, there's a complete lack of fear, and that's what you should be afraid of.
Okay, I guess I'm part of the problem then. I am not afraid. The country is not going under. Bad stuff is not about to happen. Could not be more on the other side.
Just going to reframe this now. I do not believe that the country is going to go under. Okay, I think the best days of this country are still ahead of us.
No question.
1,000% believe that. However, we are at a period in the markets where valuations are hyper extended, and if rates go higher, they go from hard to justify to impossible to justify. So you got to keep an eye that nearing 5% on the 30-year is a big deal. The 10-year losing, if it continues to stay below all the trend lines, also a big deal. So I'm not in the camp that America's going to end, we're going to die. I'm in the camp of, hey, you know what? The market's really elevated. The economy's had a 15-year run. We could very well be in for some downside action here.
And active market participants should be able to capitalize off that.
Oh my goodness.
We've talked a lot about what to look for, where to position, what to wait out. Lots of ways that you can actually play this and help yourself out. We're going to keep going along that.
Yeah, and I will come back next week specifically to talk more about small cap deep value and small cap momentum, because if I'm right, those two segments of the market will offer the potential for stratospheric returns.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good to me. All right. So real quick here, here are the tickers from today. I only had 6 of them, Tim, so that's pretty easy. I know you had sent me the list of those European and Asian tickers in a spreadsheet last week.
Yes.
I do have that. I've given it out a few times here today. If anyone else wants it, no problem there. I'm happy to send it to you, but here are your tickers from today. All right. Oh, one more thing. Tim, you were talking about shipbuilders, and this was pretty timely because 13 and I have been talking about shipbuilding on our happy hour program, and I actually have a watch list for that. So here you go. Here's the shipbuilding watch list. I'm sorry that that's not in the greatest format, but there you go. So, yeah, all right, Tim. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I actually look, shipbuilding from a military point of view, we're so far behind that the spend's going to be huge. And we're going to do, I see some South Korean tickers on there. We're going to have to be working with partners around the globe because we actually don't have the yards here. But domestic shipbuilders should do very well, particularly those with big military contracts. So even if the market pulls back, guys, remember, I'm framing this in terms of the indexes and your large cap stuff. Graphic packaging just worked for you.
Yep, that's unbelievable. And you know what's funny here is I reported this. I I reported this, and someone here says it's working for me. And I go back to it. Now it just makes me look like a complete liar. So that's always fun. That is really, really great stuff and fun. So, all right, Tim, you're the best. We appreciate it.
Guys, we will see you next week. Thanks for everything. Have a fantastic week.
All right, that is Tim Melvin, folks. Legendary. I'm giving him the legendary title. Legendary investor and friend of the show, here to give you some of his expertise. Smash up that like and subscribe for Tim Melvin, who's always given us the goods here. All right, we are expecting 13 here any minute. He was probably basking in the magnificence of Tim. So, yeah, we'll wait for him. We'll go ahead and do those movers up just like that. He's joining, and we're going to put a cold on here. You don't have time to get warmed up. You're on. Let's go.
Right,
What's going on, 13? How was the rest of your Tuesday?
Oh, it was fine. It's a nice, relaxing. I was just kind of like just letting the rest of the holiday weekend continue, just relax. I got more pressing matters happening today, so
okay.
This is the busy day.
Where do you want to start?
By the way, good morning, everybody in chat. Let's start with STI.
Okay, let me flip over to my movers. I'm assuming that's one off of the movers list here today. Mm-hmm. It is the top mover. So let's go ahead and break this down like a fraction here. Solidin Technology and Oak Ridge National Laboratory win the 2025 R&D 100 Award for Breakthrough Sustainable Graphite Production. Okay, I'll have you talk about that here in a sec. Short interest, 6.24% of the float shorted with 2.08 days to cover, comes on an average volume of 121,000 shares. That's nothing. Today, 43.2 million, and this fits our low float category of 1.1 million. So 13, what do we got going on here with ticker STI? Look at this chart.
Yeah, it's a little concerning, the chart. Kind of looks like it could turn bearish on us, but I'm not there yet. I want to see if we can get past and hold above 840. I think that'd be a good sign that we're going to continue climbing here. But yeah, this company won the 2025 R&D 100 Award for Breakthrough Sustainable Graphite Production. Graphite being one of the key components in batteries now for the anode. So with a lot of production, moving away from China and being reshored onto the U.S., this is going to be an interesting company moving forward. So something worth keeping an eye on beyond today. Certainly, we can trade this today, but beyond today, we could keep this on our radar. I don't think this is something we'd want to buy and hold right now. The company does need cash, so a little concerned about them maybe needing a capital raise here pretty soon. But this is an American company. It's based here in Texas, from what the PR is saying, and that's great, because if we can make the production of graphite more economically feasible and cheaper production here, we're good to go for making batteries in the United States on a more scalable production size. So I think this is a good step in the direction we want to go, but this company, is pretty small. 1.1 million shares in the float.
Yep.
I think they did. Let me just double check something here. They did have some insider selling, but I back in June. But I don't know that was to get out of the position or just to pay for tax or whatever the case is. I don't think this was a run for the exit. But yeah, this company does look pretty interesting. It's just I don't know that I'd be holding it beyond a trade today, at least for now. It's getting pretty close to the 65 EMA is getting pretty close to VWAP. We might see a jump here pretty soon if we get close to a crossing. But we're going to need to hold above that VWAP. Otherwise, we could see some continued downside as we approach the open here with STI.
Yeah, I think the other thing here is you might have 7 as a support level if we peak beneath that VWAP. A couple of things here real quick. Love this. Day trader saying Tim's Japanese stocks that he shared a few months ago are doing great. This is important. It is important that we do this. Tim has a longer view on a lot of these stocks. So when he recommends one, it's not as if it's going to go up tomorrow, or should it? But if you have a longer time horizon, you should see results like this. Day trader, I appreciate you mentioning that. And then Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, just a formal apology here. I'm sorry that my crappy internet provider Comcast decided to drop me and have my internet be out for several hours while we were trying to change shows. Good to see that you did a Macy's long call butterfly here that should print some cash. So good stuff there from the group. Hopefully some of you took that there. Appreciate all of you dealing with that outage. And it does look really quickly here. It does look like TOS is having some issues here. I was kind of looking at this, Jane, while you had mentioned it earlier. I don't see anything in my time and sales panel. So I can confirm that I am not getting time and sales through Thinkorswim, at least not at this time.
Look at that price action there. It's not looking like the price action we want if we're going to go higher.
Coming to that VWAP. Let's see if we hold it. Okay, next on the list here, BTBD. Bravo Tango, Bravo Delta. This is BT Brands. BT Brands shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into a definitive merger agreement with Aero Velocity. Stock was about just shy of $2 yesterday. We're above 4 here today. Taking a look at the short interest here. 4.7% of the float shorted. That's new. That's actually a substantial raise from the last print that we got. We're actually that one is actually pretty fresh. We're not due for one for another week and a half here. Days to cover 1. That comes on an average volume of 2.23 million. Today we've traded 24.5 million. Float on this is 5. I don't really think the short interest is going to do anything here for BTBD. But this trading higher here. Now, that definitive merger agreement, BT Brands enter an all-stock merger. BT Brands will merge into Aero Velocity. Transaction calls for an equity investment in the combined company of no less than $3 million and up to $5 million by Aero Velocity shareholders. So 13, what do you think here? Stock is ripping here today. Got more meat on the bone or no?
So I'm trying to understand the connection here with this one. This is just, it's ripping through some levels, and I'll get to the levels in just a second. But BTBD is a burger chain, and they're merging with a company that is, it's involved in aerospace. Let me pull the AI, unmanned aerial vehicles, data science. I'm trying to understand the connection here. Are they going to use this to deliver their burgers? I don't know. I'm trying to put the pieces together here. I got a burger joint meshing with what appears to be some kind of defense name. I don't know the connection. Anyway, this merger is supposed to happen in the Q4 of this year or Q1 of next year. It does look like the company is still going to need cash, regardless if they merge or not. So there's that. I'm really struggling trying to figure out the connection here, and I didn't have enough time to dig deep enough to see if I could make sense of it all. But these companies apparently want to be together, and they have BTBD has 5 million shares in the float. We're currently trading over the $4 level that I had marked off earlier. It seems like when we had the first impulse move this morning, it took us up just slightly over $4. We came back in. Now we're trading over it. And the next levels to the upside that I see that could provide some resistance, we're hitting one right now, 430. We went as high as 435 just a moment ago. Beyond that is 465 and 525. We do have an all-time high of 560. That happened not that long ago. Believe it was just earlier this month or last month. Yeah, on August 4th. And that was over a breakthrough in circular sustainability. That was the news that day. And they also talked about a potential merger here. They're going forward with strategic initiatives, and maybe the information I was looking for is in there. But as far as the price action here today, we could see 5 with the way this is trading. 560 is the all-time high. 525 is the IPO high. Beyond that, I don't know where this goes.
Okay, I want to trade this on general principle. I really do. Really good outline there, 13. BT Brands operates and owns a fast food restaurant called Burger Time.
Yeah.
The company also operates in Minnesota as a franchisee of Dairy Queen. It offers a variety of burgers and other affordable products priced. I mean, this is wild stuff. If you go to the actual PR here itself, quote, "We're thrilled to have entered this agreement with BT Brands, and we thank the management and the Aero Velocity team for their considerable efforts in getting us to this point." That was Mark Hastings, the CEO of Aero Velocity. We are equally excited about the tremendous opportunities that lie ahead for Aero Velocity and welcome the platform for growth that we believe will result in from this transaction. The application of UAV technologies throughout the value chain is still in its infancy. We are eager to push the boundaries of what drones can contribute in the way of safety, cost savings, and other efficiencies. It literally sounds like the company is trying to use drones to induce cost savings for their burgers.
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't have this on my bingo
the chat
card
is
here
on
today.
fire right now with this. They are just
the chat is doing what the chat does best. It's digesting this news and giving us something we can laugh about.
A nothing burger. Yeah, exactly.
Actually, Drewster, I like this. Here's an analogy for you. Lamborghini started off as farm equipment. This is true, by the way. I saw this the other day. I can't remember where I saw this, but I saw this yesterday. Of course, its trajectory was sports cars. Look,
yeah,
no criticisms here. I'm just trying to understand.
That's a good point. I feel like Lambo kind of sidestepped into a different market, whereas this is more of a leap, if you will. Going from burgers to drones is not the same as going from farm equipment to fast equipment. Faster farm equipment, I guess.
Okay. Let's see how this one shakes out. This is a nice little laugh to start the day.
It's funny.
Appreciate you. All right, let's keep moving on here. Next is going to be AIHS is your
AI
ticker.
High School. Yep.
What?
AI High School. That's right.
AI High School. That's not bad. Send Meow Technology. Let's trade this right meow. I mean, I don't know. We're just going to have fun with some of these things here. Shares are trading higher on no news. Looks like I can't even load the news feed here.
Because there isn't any.
Because there isn't any. Floats just over 1 million, barely 3.17% short interest. Let's take a look at the days to cover on this. Days to cover 1. So on average, thing trades 155,000 shares a day. Today it's traded 28 million. Send meow. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it together here. Send meow trading higher here. Looks like we also had this was August 19th. Yeah, this is stale as can be. Okay, what do you got here? Right meow for this company.
Yeah, so this company doesn't have any news, as you said. They did receive a NASDAQ deficiency notice earlier last month at the beginning. They also went through a 1-for-10 reverse split on July 29th. And when you look at the float, when you look at the financials, you can tell that this company isn't going to last too much longer. They did have just shy of $1 million in the bank, and they don't burn quite that. Well, they not last quarter anyway, but the quarter before they burned more than that. So either way, it looks to me like they're going to need to raise capital at some point. So I think I'd just be careful with this one. We do have a downtrend, like a trend line that we can draw with this, and it does look like it's kind of compressing, getting ready to make its next move. Might be up, could be down. I don't know. Maybe if we open and it gets noticed, and it certainly looks like it is. Maybe this breaks over the trend line and we go on. We see some upside a little bit. I don't know how much upside we're going to get with this, to be honest. But I feel like this one is one of the riskier ones that we've seen today, where we might see a capital raise, given that they had the NASDAQ deficiency notice. They just went through a reverse split. They're going through all the motions of regaining compliance, and usually that means that they're going to raise capital following a reverse split. So that's kind of what I'm expecting with this. Don't know when that's going to happen. Levels that I see for this to the upside, if we can get above VWAP, which I currently find us below. It looks the same.
355 is my VWAP, and we are without a doubt beneath.
Yeah, so I would say that 370 is going to be a level to the upside if we can get back above VWAP, followed by $4, and then the pre-market high of 440. I'm sure we could look at some levels going even further backwards, but I don't think that we really run into anything of interest beyond the levels I just mentioned until we get up to about 650. There's a bit of a gap there, and that's where the 200-day EMA is. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at here. We did have a big drop back in June. Didn't bother to go and look and see what that was, but.
Well, this actually looks like a SPAC, no? I wonder if this was the de-SPACing process.
Usually they kind of, if it's a SPAC, it'll hang out like right at $10 until the merger happens or until news of an imminent merger happens. It does look like it kind of hung out there, but I don't think that's what happened. I think this was hanging out like more around 860, 850. I don't think this is a SPAC. I could be wrong about that. Let's
no, you're not. You're not. Well, you know what? So the only entry I have here was for an IPO back in 2018, and this is telling me that the deal was withdrawn.
No, it wasn't a SPAC. I just double checked.
Okay.
But no, it was, certainly watch for something like that. And it's usually going to be very, very small movement, but it's going to hang out right at 10 for the longest time. That's usually an indication of a SPAC.
Okay, good breakdown here. AIHS. The next one we have on the group here is GEG. This is Great Elm Group. Golf Echo Golf. Great Elm Group shares are trading higher after the company reported year-over-year increase in Q4 EPS results. So nice little solid catalyst there. They reported in the after hours yesterday, popped about just as high as 430, just shy of 430. We've backed off that a little bit today. The big concern for me is that we've really kind of traded away from the VWAP here to the downside. We did find some support at that 200 EMA right about 315. I think that's going to be one of your key levels. Key upside level here, 359, if it can recapture VWAP. Quick look at the short interest on this. It's basically nothing. There's literally less than 7,000 shares total held short in here. So I don't think short information is going to do anything. On average, the stock is a ghost town. Trades less than 50,000 shares a day. Today, we've traded just shy of 7 million. Float here is 8.5. So this thing can move. What do you think about the Great Elm Group? By the way, since we are talking about burger chains merging with drone companies, might as well take a look and see what the Great Elm Group does. It operates as an alternative asset manager focused on growing a scalable and diversified portfolio of long duration and permanent capital vehicles across credit, real estate, specialty finance, and other alternative strategies. I wonder if they're going to start selling tacos. What do you got here, GEG, Great Elm Group?
In that paragraph that you were reading, it says, along with its subsidiaries, it manages Great Elm Capital Corp., a publicly traded business development company, and Monopoly Properties REIT, LLC. What's interesting about that is in July, the end of July, KLIM purchased almost 5% of Great Elm Group and invested $150 million in the Menominee REIT. So there's some investment there on that side. So might help lift this further, but that was back in July. It's today it's running on earnings, and they have the conference call going on right now. I don't think this company's got any financial problems. They're not profitable yet, but they're until we got this EPS read here. But they weren't profitable before, but they had plenty of cash, so was not really worried about that. 8.5 million shares in the float. Looking at the chart here, we did get an impulse move that took us up to 491, and we've been kind of found some footing just under 4, but we have since continued to fall lower. That's given us a bit of a trend line that we can draw here. So let's see how that looks. And it looks like if we try to draw this through the highs of the after hours and pre-market, we're beyond that trend line with very little movement. So it doesn't seem like that's really having any kind of effect, except that it's just not really getting the attention here. We are beneath VWAP, but I think that I guess that's kind of what I'd be looking at is if it can get over VWAP, we might see this trade better, but it's not looking like this is really getting enough attention here. We are going to keep an eye on some levels of the upside. 340 looks like an interesting one, as does 365. So those would be the next two to the upside. And when you get to 365, you have a lot of supply above that. So could be hard to get through 365 to 385 with the amount of consolidation that's in there.
Okay. Good stuff. I'm going to keep moving here because we are running out of time. Next one here is going to be LPTH. This is another one that's ripping here in the pre-market on volume here today, plus 23%. LightPath Technology shares are trading higher after the company secured an $18.2 million purchase order to supply advanced infrared camera systems. Now, a company here has a market cap of 210 million. So this 18.2 million, this is a pretty sizable contract here. Looks pretty good. On average, stock trades 400,000 shares. We're about to cross a million here. It's got a 36 million share float. This has negligible short interest, 1.06% with 1.17 days to cover. I don't think that means anything. 13, what do you think here on LPTH? Looks like it ran in some resistance there at 620, but what do you think?
It looks, I mean, if you look at the daily chart, this thing is just kind of, taking off on momentum. We did have a nice scallop here all throughout 2025. Looks like we popped up toward the end of 2024, got as high as 440, that area, came back in, and we rounded off around the 500-day SMA, came back up, took out that high from January, and now we're trading above it in a big breakout. Let me look a little bit further to the left to see if there's any data that we can draw on for where this might go. I'm not sure if we hit all-time highs or not. No, we haven't. So from here, we're at 6. There's a big area of resistance at 7, just a little bit above 7. So I think, if you look back from 2002, geez, we're going back really back in time here to 2007. This was really the time where it was trying to get back above 7, and it couldn't stick it. It couldn't hold above 7 all this time, all these years. And then we ended up going much lower after that. So I guess I'm kind of wondering, was this what involvement did this would have with the .com bubble?
I don't know the answer to that.
It really because if you look at even further back, it really took off in 1999 and peaked in 2000, and then it just started falling off all the way through 2002, which is pretty much what the .com bubble did.
Yep.
So I guess I'd be curious about what their role is, or if this is just a different company now. But if it is the same company, those would be the levels I'd be drawing on. Looks like 7's going to be the next one beyond 6. Other than that, don't have a whole lot of information on this.
Okay, there we go. That's a pretty good breakdown as it is 13. No worries there. IPDN, we talked about this one. This was a mover on Friday. This is kind of revisiting that consolidation area near 9. This, to me, I guess, would be key if this can break through 9. No new news there today. As mentioned earlier here, NBY is showing some continuation. This is one of the trades yesterday. We're actually getting another move here in the pre-market. So maybe pop this on your watch list just to see if anything else happens here today. Also, just a really quick victory lap here for Macy's. Macy's here, shares are trading higher if the company reported Q2 sales above estimates and raised its full year 2025 EPS and sales guidance. Anne-Marie set this trade up for us yesterday. It should pay pretty well here today. We give you the sound effect trifecta there, Anne-Marie, for getting our members paid all of the time. Absolutely love it. And then I see several of you folks are mentioning NUKK. This is one yesterday that had a pretty big move and then kind of a disappointing move. After that initial push there, I think it trapped a lot of folks, really couldn't get above the VWAP. Did have a little bit here in the pre-market, but if you traded this and lost on this yesterday, just remember some of the lessons that you took away from that trade. Also today, let's try not to cheerlead NUKK. Let's try not to cheerlead any stock. Let's stick to actionable items that can help other people. And then JEM, this is also getting mentioned here. 707 Cayman Holdings, as if you, to me, this is about as shady as it gets here. Hong Kong-based group that sells quality apparel products and provides supply chain management total solutions to its customers spanning from Western Europe, North America, and the Middle East. There you go. This is up 56%. Yeah, what do you got?
NUKK. So if you look at like a smaller time frame, like the 5-minute chart, for example, and you look at the past, few days, you can see where the support and resistance levels are. Like if you look at yesterday, for example, when we came down after hitting that 719 high intraday, we got some support down around the 565 area, which is close to the high from the day before. Now, if you look at the pre-market today, we've since traded beneath that, and we're trying to recapture it. But that low from yesterday intraday is now being resistance in the pre-market today. So I think that is the level we're going to want to keep an eye on here. It's right around 560, 570 where that resistance is. So I think that's going to be an important level if you're looking for more upside here today in NUKK.
Okay. Good stuff there. And then the last request before I flip over to the main workspace here is open. This has been one of our big kind of short squeeze runners here. Little bit of pop here in the pre-market, but right ahead of the bell It's getting yanked. Be careful with open here if you trade that. Okay, let me flip over to the main workspace. Also give you the results from the poll. Thank you, folks, for voting. Which would you choose to hold until the end of the year? You had to pick one, PD Kate. Sorry, you don't get to sit on the sidelines every time. Google coming in with 72% of the vote, and Apple coming in with 27% of the vote. Real quick, Carson here. Hey, Ryan, good morning. What are your thoughts on Google and Apple? I would watch both of those for a potential trade here today. With both of them being up, one of the first things you can look for there is going to be a gap and go. See if that works for you. Otherwise, we'll look for another setup here. Google, probably the stronger one, I would guess, early on here. Personally, I'm holding Apple calls from yesterday. From earlier. I actually added to those calls yesterday. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We'll go ahead and get those closed out here today.
Yeah, I was asked real quick about GEM. I don't know enough about this company. It looks like it's just, it's really coming off of all-time lows here, and got a bit of a gap up today. But we are coming up to the 20-day SMA at 388. So I think that's going to be an area of resistance. Above that, you have the 50-day SMA at 433. I think those are going to be the resistance areas for GEM. And I don't know what this company does or anything about it. So I'm sorry, I can't give you some more beyond that.
Okay, as far as GEM.
AIHS, sorry to interrupt you, but this is breaking out of the trend line.
Which one?
AIHS.
Oh, the high school stock? Okay.
The high school stock.
Google pulled off that a little bit, so we'll see if the gap and go forms up here. But so far, no bueno there. AI high school here battling right at the VWAP. We'll see if we can go higher from this area.
Looks like BTBD went down to its VWAP and is getting some support. I don't like the way the MACD looks, so see if this can recapture 4. Maybe we can go higher here. It's also a little bit of an trend line we can draw to the upside if we use the 2 peaks from the pre-market, the initial impulse move and the high at 435.
Okay, and as I've been trying to mention, I did sell half of my Apple position right there at the open. I'll keep you posted on the rest. Those were the 235 calls. We're in the money, so giddy up. Here's your trend line on BTBT.
BTBD.
BTBD, excuse me.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen a lot, and I'm probably going to get made fun of. It is what it is.
So far, AIHS doing pretty good here.
Yeah, it popped a little bit away from the VWAPs, meeting some resistance right here, but looking pretty good. I actually tried to buy that and couldn't get filled. This is now running away from it. AIHS.
That's looking pretty good. Coming up to a resistance area around 4. So it might either it's going to blast through it or it's going to briefly back off of it. Let's see. While that does that, I'll look at some other ones here. STI looks like that's starting to get going here. Trying to get over 775. There's a bit of a seller in the way there. BTBD. Now this is coming back down to the VWAP. Still don't like the way this one looks on the MACD. This has the potential to go lower.
Wiss mentioning that IPDN is halted. This is halted to the upside, $10.10. LPTH, as you see on the screen here, this pushed higher right out of the open. 628 is your high print there. All right. IPDN, looks like there's a number of folks on that one. Get in here, 13. I'm going to run to the washroom.
AIHS hit 4. Did back off briefly, but it's still hitting it. So trying to push through.
Good stuff on that for anyone who hit that. That happened fast. I actually couldn't even get filled on it.
All right, through 4 now.
Wow. I'll be right back.
Okay, pre-market high is 440. Looks like that's what's coming up next. Now, it might run into a little bit of resistance prior to that. Maybe closer to 420, 425. It is backing off now, right? But we could probably hold above 4. If we go beneath 4, we'll see what happens. But nice move out of the gate here. Wait for it to set up next. Looks like IPDN, as he said, halted. NUKK initially it was selling off, went as low as 515, trying to turn around and recapture VWAP right now. LPTH printing a high in the regular session here at 625. GEG popped out of the gate, went up to 352, came back into the 200-day SMA where it's getting support right now. AIHS still holding above 4. STI, that first one we looked at, really doing nothing but kind of whipping around, going sideways. So it's staying within this consolidation range that it put in the pre-market. Looks like 725 still going to be about the support area. Beneath that, you have the 65 EMA at 705. And to the upside, you have a potential break of 785. So that would be the next thing to watch here if we do get that upside momentum.
On which one?
That was STI. It's kind of going sideways right now.
STI.
Yeah, it's kind of going sideways right now, but we're looking for either a breakout or a breakdown. It depends on which level gets breached first. BTBD went beneath its VWAP, trying to recapture it right now. AIHS still hanging out above 4 for the moment. Looks like this wants to push higher. That 440, 425, 440 area. That range seems to be where the current resistance is for that stock, AIHS. Looks like we're trying to push up into it and see if we can go beyond it now. High of the session, looking for 430 now. There's a seller in the way at 430.
That BTBT is continuing to curl as well, 13. That actually looks like a bounce off of VWAP on BTBT. BTBD, God bless it. I'm going to do that a number of times today. I can feel it.
Let's see if it can get back above 4 BTBD. That looks like a resistance area. Meanwhile, AIHS still above 4, trying to push into that range that I was mentioning earlier between 425 and 440. Looks like we got as high as 430, where that seller was before we backed off a little bit. LPTH continuing to slowly grind higher.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Oh, it just disappeared. There we go. LPTH. There we go.
Oh, nice, Big Dave. He made a nice.
What did I miss? IPDN. Nice. Yeah. Is that unhalted? Did I miss that?
No. It's
okay. It's still halted. Perfect.
It sounds like he got all that before it halted.
Yeah, I know. Thinking about it, I'm doing my best. Maybe I just shouldn't talk about BTBD today, just because I know I'm going to screw it up. There is actually a stock BTBT, which is why I'm mixing it up so often here.
A crypto play, right?
Here's SMR. This is popping higher. This made big moves on the nuclear power news that we got yesterday. I can review that here for you. SMR responded to this. Some new news here today. Trump's nuclear drive fuels the VanEck uranium ETF. There was another thing in here. Is basically on the going towards nuclear power for AI. Looks like we have another energy announcement here this morning. So SMR looking pretty good here this morning as well. LPTH, this looks like our top gainer. See if we break 620 there. What else do we have off here?
STI, still in that range, but...
Ooh, lift.
Is it getting lifted?
Yeah, plus 8% here today. Lyft announces a $450 million convertible senior note offering due 2030 with conversion premiums of 40%. And by the way, BTBD, the stock whose name I shouldn't mention, 13. We took 4 here.
All right.
Well, let me get the chart fixed up.
Oh, okay, right there. So much for that. I was 435. Next one, actually, we got a print of 429. So just shy of that, but 435. That's the pre-market high. Looks like that's where we're headed next, and then it's the trend line that we drew.
Okay.
It looks like AIHS
out half there at 420. We'll see if we hit that trend line there. Stops below that at 4.
AIHS still trying to push beyond 430. Running into the resistance though.
So this is slowing down a little bit, it looks like.
And STI finally chose a direction. It seems like that bearish looking pattern wasn't a bad read. Now losing at 65 EMA. This may halt to the downside here with STI.
671. IPDN, was that resumed and halted? No. This is an old halt. It's an old halt. It's an old halt. It's catching up. That's all.
It's halt probably pretty soon here. GEG still trying to push through VWAP. AIHS, we did get a move through 430, but it came right back in. It just got a penny higher before we came right back in. Now we're looking at VWAP as support. BTBD almost at our trend line here that we drew.
445 is the target on the rest of that there.
Looks like 460, 450 has a seller in the way, so it might run into resistance. But if we can get past that, 460 is the next resistance level that I see.
Okay, by the way, the time and sales in Thinkorswim is working again. I hope it's cleared up for all of you. I'm seeing it here fast and furious there, BTBD.
Be careful with AIHS. Watch this current candle. If we get another upper shadow, we have 3, and this could be a signal that some downside is coming next. So let's see how this candle shapes up here. We can push through 430 and go higher. We'll invalidate that, but if we can't, then might see some downside following this candle if we get another hot wick on the top.
BTBD, it's not showing on this chart here, but on my broker, the volume is ferocious. There is both buying and selling volume here on BTBD. Nice job, Jacob, on the out there. I'm still waiting on the remaining half. I sold half into this move higher.
Looks like it's getting walked down a little bit before.
Yeah, it's all over the place. And if you watch the level 2, you'll see it clear as day.
Yeah. It was getting walked down a little bit. Now they're coming back up. I think they're going to knock on that 450 door again. I got somebody else walking it down now.
There's a big pull there. Expect that. See if we climb back up here. BTBD. Also, AIHS. We are right at that resistance. There it is, right above. All I had to do was talk about it, 13, and we got it. AIHS. I'm not in this one. Good stuff there, though. Good stuff there. Apple coming back in, actually lost that 235. Glad we sold partial up there. Really good stuff. Let you know when I get out of the rest of those calls. Nice winning morning here. That is for sure. That is for sure.
It is. And AIHS, well, it's backing off now, but I'm sorry. No, it's not. AIHS 455. This has a little ways to go before it runs into another area of resistance. Looks like it's going to be a little bit above 6 until we get.
It was BTBD that backed off the highs there. That's coming back into 4 here. It looks like 409. Yep. Jay here saying bit of profit taking in the Qs and buying in the IWM. I guess we would have expected that in the Qs there. The buying in the IWM, that's great news, especially for the rest of us that want to see more diversification into the small caps. Stopped out of BTBD on the rest. That trade is all wrapped up for a gain. We'll look to see where we can reload that. I don't know that this one's going to be done here today. Let me bring it up.
Smoke Tuna saying that the load zones are 406 and 372. We're past one. We're almost at the other.
Okay, we were just at 372 right there. And I've got VWAP here 383, so we'll see if we recapture that on BTBD. We did right there.
Yep. Looks like it's trying to come back up to 4. And we're just waiting for STI to unhalt. I think that still has another minute or two. AIHS 490 is now the high. I think this still runs into, goes over 5 because, like I said, the big resistance doesn't show up until closer to 6.
Okay. IPDN, you guys are talking about that. Is that open now?
It's unhalted. That opened higher, went higher to 1128 and came back in, but did not fill the gap. Now it's looking like this is trying to push higher again. Let's see. Where's going to be the next resistance area since we're now at new highs here? 1120 was just passed. Looks like $13 could be next. If it can get past this area here, this 1075, I think $13 is the next big resistance area.
Okay. We're seeing lots of Google calls here. These are the 230 calls for this week. So it looks like these are people actively trading Google to the upside. Bharat, you had asked earlier if we were going to have a gap and go on Google. Well, we certainly don't have that on Apple. Looks like we have a gap and crap. Your gap and go has now set up here. So what I'd be looking at here, pink line. If you're long this, if you're long Google here on a gap and go, I would wait for the price to cross back through that 9 EMA. Otherwise, we are risk on here from that opening pull. Also worth noting that 227 area, 227.03, this was a topside area that we had marked off on Google. So this one looking good. Giddy up.
AIHS printed over 5, hitting a high of 505. It's come back in under 5 now, currently getting some support around the 480s. Meanwhile, BTBD is recapturing 4, trying to push higher. Let's see if it can actually touch the trend line that we drew earlier this morning this time.
Okay, so if we get another load here, here's what the chart looks like. I'm also seeing FLR here. It's not on the relative volume scan, but a nice 4.5% move. This had a nice move yesterday in the afternoon and then moving again here today. Let me see if there's any news on FLR. This was an infrastructure stock I think we talked about.
My wife used to do global mobility for them.
Interesting. They had bullish option flow detected yesterday, 9,600 calls, which was 1.7 times the expected, and implied volatility increasing almost 4 points to 43%. Interesting. This is a nice move here today on FLR.
Yeah. Looks like BTBD is still trying to push up higher here. AIHS trying to get back over 5.
Yeah, you have a feeling, or I shouldn't. Do you have a feeling that BTBD has kind of a nasty pull here? I know we just saw one, but I'm almost thinking that we might get another here.
I do not like the way the MACD looks. It looks like it really is trying to roll over here. So I think that having a stop set for this one is a really good idea.
Okay. Anne-Marie saying FLR is a great infrastructure play. I have no exposure to it, but watching that here this morning, again, this being one off of our list before, see if there's a trade to be set up there in FLR. Smoke Tuna saying BTBD will go to 560. Big Dave, done for the day on Google. 2 points on that. Awesome stuff.
Nice. Well done, Dave.
This is another good morning here. BTBD above 4. This going for the high of that. We'll see if it's got the strength to do so. Volume is drying up a little bit here.
Go to 560. Smoke Tuna, I love that you say 560. That's like the top, that's the high print that I have here with all the different levels. Excellent. Love to see it.
Tesla, this sold out of the gate. It's doing its best to hold on to 330 right now.
GEG is great group, not doing so great. Looks like LPTH also coming back in now. This also seemingly on the verge of going lower. See support potentially at 575. Beneath that, 555.
I like this here. Jay Rice, FLR. Many think it's a nuclear infrastructure name, although the last few quarters have disappointed. That the last few quarters disappointing, that almost makes me wonder if we're given an opportunity to add this lower. If that is a nuclear infrastructure play, I see that going higher. Anne-Marie, thank you for putting that on the list for Friday. Hopefully my internet cooperates and I can join you. Thanks again for handling that on your own yesterday. You're an ace. You are an ace.
Could be more, how we have a big power supply issue for AI to meet the AI demand.
Yeah.
Maybe Fluor is building out more electrical infrastructure.
Well, here we go. Empyrean says, I like FLR. I didn't think it was only nuclear, but general construction as well. They hold a 60% equity stake in SMR. With that, I didn't know about. That's really good stuff, Empyrean. Kind of like an FLR more and more now. No position yet.
All right.
Smoke Tuna saying that 13 BTBD load might be 372 or 348. So it looks like you are also expecting a move down here in BTBD for the potential load. And 13, I cannot not mention it, but the trend line here, beautiful.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful.
I appreciate it. The point he was making about the load zone. So that 348 area, that's at 850. That was where the high was. Prior to breaking over that and putting in the $4 pre-market print, so that's it's kind of like down around 348, 350. That does look like a load zone. We haven't hit it yet in the regular session, so We'll see what happens when we get down there. But the MACD to me is indicating that we're going to come back in and go into VWAP.
I'm going to take a look at the option chain here for FLR.
AIHS. Here we go.
AIHS. Let me put that on screen here. It's okay.
All right. Yeah.
Man, this was a great call. I didn't trade this one. I traded some of the other stuff here today. For all of you that are on this one, be sure to ring that register. This is a sweet move here. Really good stuff, group. Again, you guys are just crushing it, guys and gals. Excuse me.
I think Smoke Tune is right. This is going to go to 6.
Okay. He said 16.
Well, now he says 16 if it goes well.
Okay.
Let me look at the daily chart. I want to see.
It's like, that's 10 points there.
You know, here's the reason I don't think it'll go to 16. We do have this gap fill that starts at about 670, and it doesn't fill until, if you're looking at the wick, it doesn't fill until 928. If you're looking at the real body, it's more like 1025. But you have a ton of consolidation going back over a year. From about 840 to 1040. So I don't have the greatest confidence that we're going to chew through all of that in this session. But I think we're going to start to find some resistance around 647. That's where the 200 day SMA is, and it's about the top of where this red candle from June 13th is. I don't know how much higher we'll go beyond that, but that's going to be a resistance level. We could start this gap fill, but I think once we get up, if we do run up towards into the 8 handle, I think we're going to start to see some pretty stiff resistance around 840. Wow, this thing is okay. So it's already past 6 as I was talking. Okay, so next spot 650, 647 area.
Real quick, just kind of randomly, I got a text from another one of my trader buddies who likes to alert me to things, and the text basically just said FLR. We're over the target here on this FLR thing. I'll ask him and see how he's trading that, though. FLR continuing to put in some new highs. BTBD here. Is this AIHS? This is halted, isn't it? 636?
Not yet. It's about to. It's going to halt, and there it is, halted.
Okay, good stuff there on AIHS. Now, looking at BTBD, this pulled back to the VWAP. I've got VWAP here, 385 on BTBD. We'll see if it holds this area. The load zone that Tuna gave here, again, it was a little bit lower than this, right? Yeah, 372 and 348.
Yep. We're going to, I think we're certainly going to hit that 348 low. It just, we need a little bit of time.
Okay.
So. We'll just wait on that. GEG, this one that we drew the trend line on that looked like it wasn't, it wasn't doing anything. This has now come down to the trend line, and it is using it as support. LPTH, this one also looking like this is going to head lower here. I would think that maybe it tries to come back up, recapture VWAP. I think there's going to be a potential rejection there. That's going to be about $6. And it's also got some pretty low volume. So let's see what we end up getting there with that. I think that's the path, that light path is going to take. IPDN.
That light path is going to take. I like it.
IPDN, this one, folks are talking about it. This one looks like it's setting up to try and push higher here. We've have not filled that gap to the downside, and we're starting to consolidate. At least the real bodies of the past 2 candles are. Let's see if we can push through 12.
Okay. Real quick, Ondas here pulling back a little bit. We did have some news here from Ondas that I wanted to draw your attention to for any of you that are still trading this. At this point, it's more of a hold for me unless we make another move like above 6, then maybe we'll consider trimming again. Otherwise, we'll kind of wait this out. Ondas Holdings American Robotics to participate in the CUAS IDICE 2025 counter drone exercise in San Diego. Now, if any of you know what this exercise is, let me know. This is going to be one of the things that I look up here. This is going to take place between September 9 and September 11th in San Diego. So we'll see if we get any information out of that, maybe even some new orders. That's coming up here. Looks like next week, end of next week.
All right. And look at GEG trying to turn around on that trend line. Fantastic. We'll see if that follows through.
Now, I think I misdrew this trend line. So let me draw it here, 13. You said the high from the after hours yesterday, correct?
Yeah, it might have my broker might have slightly different prints. Let me come back here. So
what was the second point that you drew it through?
So it was I started with the after hours high at 491. I drew it through the pre-market high just as we opened the pre-market. That's at 405. So it looks like your print, your high print in the pre-market there was much higher than mine was. I have,
and I also didn't have any 490 print in the after hour yesterday. I'm going to not draw that trend line and see if anything else materializes because I don't trust it.
Yeah, because that high print in the pre-market there only goes to 419 for me. Yeah. Where does it go for you? Where's yours at?
431, 429 maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
Apple bounced after that little bit of profit taking that we saw earlier, and FLR pulled off that $44 high that it put in. Tesla also successfully so far defended 330 to the downside on Tesla. We had Elon on Tesla, by the way.
Sorry, IPDN, new highs now.
I'll go to it. That's a mover here. I can cover the news when we don't have something pressing. No big deal. Here you go on IPDN. Again, grats to anyone that took this. I was on some other names here today. BTBD, by the way, losing its VWAP right now.
And then it pulled big time, IPDN. Now we're going to halt to the downside.
Okay. Kind of glad I'm not messing with that one. Smoke Tuna says BTBD load at 348. So looks like we're waiting out a pull for another 35 cents here.
Get the sense that move down to 348 may happen a little bit quick.
I'll come back to IPDN when it unhalts if necessary. In the meantime, I'm going to throw up BTBD.
If GEG can't recapture the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, I think that's going to be the side of rejection and take us lower.
Okay.
IPDN, that is a nice break over 12, but nasty pull.
Jay here, RL, when was the last time social media mentioned Ralph Lauren? I can't recall the time. Shh, don't tell anyone, but new all-time highs.
What's social media?
Yeah, 13. No, you know what? This is probably why you're so happy and joking all the time. It's because you don't waste away on social media.
I used to post on Facebook a long time ago, and at some point I realized, I don't get why I'm even wasting my time doing this. What's the point? AIHS unhalted and is going higher. I don't know. There's a lot I could get into it, but it just looked. I viewed it as a waste of time at some point.
Right before I stopped, I was posting interesting things that I had learned from like astronomy, space, and theoretical physics. Didn't really resonate with anybody. I just kind of got bored and stopped.
Yeah, and I think it would really push me away as people started arguing with me about just anything, anything they could think of. Why?
I hear that a lot from, by the way, BTBD is pulling right now, folks. I know AIHS. Okay, so this is ripping here. This stock is where you should really be selling. BTBD, we are coming into that 350 area.
There's 7. We blew past the 200 EMA, which should be the where you probably want to start taking gains because this is going to pull now. But if we can continue higher with AIHS, we still have a potential gap fill. But I don't think we're going to be gap filling today. I think we're going to the ceiling for today is likely going to be around 480. We'll see if that ends up happening. Maybe I'm wrong and it just absolutely rips today. But I think it's going to have some problems once it gets up into the 840 area.
Okay, here's BTBD. So far, it held 350. I would be cautious if it loses 350, so I might trade that against that 350 spot personally.
Cam,
we'll see what ends up happening there. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, hey, Cam, I could probably do that, but they'll argue with me on whether or not I enjoyed it. That's just the way it is.
That's the way it is. I'll tell you what, I had a CNBC outage this morning. I couldn't watch it on TV and I couldn't load up the stream on my computer. And I threw out a random message to X and I got Mitch to respond and one of my previous mods in Pro and a rando, and everyone was nice about it. CNBC looked like it was out for multiple people in multiple regions.
Great mention, Jonathan. Jolt's jobs reports come out in 1 minute.
Yep.
And we have the big one coming out on Friday. All right, so hey, here we are with BTBD at that load zone.
And so far it's holding it, right? So it went right to 350 fast and held it here. It does look like it's trying to bounce on BTBD.
No, it's his actual the level he mentioned. 348 exactly was the low.
Oh, perfect. Smoke tuna hitting it right on the spot again. How perfect is that? We'll take that all day long. BTBT continuing to bounce here. Have a good plan. Let's see if this is trading back up here now. BTBD.
I think we're still waiting for IPDN to unhalt. Light path still trying to push up. It has recaptured VWAP.
Oh, Lynn, I didn't even know this. Is this true here? Taylor Swift wore Ralph Lauren with the engagement. I didn't even know about that. I know they're moving on earnings though, aren't they? That wasn't a Taylor Swift headline, I don't think.
I don't see their earnings.
No, that's not. Maybe that is it then, Lynn. I apologize.
Yeah, their last earnings were back.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that. Move over, Sydney Sweeney. American Eagle gets its next viral star with Travis Kelce collaboration announced after the Taylor Swift engagement. Lynn. Good mention there. Okay.
That's wild. Yeah, great job.
Swifties are greater than earnings, says Zane. You know what? For some of these market moves, you are on to something there. I bet that Mo would outdo some of those fundamentals.
BTBD still trying to recover here. We need to see that move above VWAP.
Her engagement dress sold out in 20 minutes. That's unreal.
AIHS, this is open now. Got a seller in the way at 660. It's trying to recapture and go back up to 7. GEG, this is has recaptured its VWAP, trying to get back above 620. Current high of the session is 627. Should see an unhalt here with IPDN soon, I would think.
AIHS pulling back. Macy's probably helping Ralph Lauren. They sell a lot of polo stuff. That's true. Someone was asking earlier if there are any Macy's brick and mortar stores. There was a mall around here that had a Macy's that I would visit, but that was years ago. I don't even know if it's still there. You know, Macy's obviously still does online orders.
Little concerning here with NUKK. We came down to the low of the after hours. We're right there right now, and we want to see this level hold up, or we're going to be going down underneath 5. This isn't the good looking price action right now. We need to move up off this $5 level right now. Or we're going to lose it, and I think we could end up going down to around 480, maybe even down to the 460s.
Volume here less than impressive on NUKK as well. I tell you what, I'm not interested in this even for a short-term trade unless we see some volume pouring in here. SINT, this is one that we've traded quite a bit. This is halted to the upside on a rocket through VWAP on volume. This here headline, I'm not sure we covered this earlier. Syntax technology shares are trading higher after the company announced publication of a study showing silicon nitride demonstrated antiviral activity against multiple virus strains, including SARS-CoV-2 and MERS. So good data there. SINT, this halted to the upside 659.
It probably didn't catch our radar because the big impulse move initially had already come back in.
Yeah.
By the time I came on or was looking at the movers, this was already trying to put in that bottom around the 520s. So probably was only about maybe a 20% runner at that point. The KHC merger quits. Really? I hadn't seen that. Weren't they supposed to be splitting? There's a lot of stuff to read through here. So interesting if that's the case. Thank you for flagging that. All right, looks like AIHS trying to come back up here, looking for it's well beneath 7 right now, but I think it's coming back up to meet up with 7, trying to go higher. So be careful with the volume here. Waiting for IPDN to unhalt. That shouldn't be too long from now. Well, wait a minute. This is not the first halt. So how many? Let's see.
For which one? I got you. I got you.
IPDN. So that's going to mean it's probably the 15-minute halt.
I've got IPDN as a second halt.
Yeah, because that first one we was out of the gate and we gapped up. So now we're probably going to gap down. Yeah, not a whole lot happening at the moment. Still have another 25 minutes before we get to that 10:30 see you later volume time. AIHS.
Bharat saying here, did not take the profit quickly on Palantir, and it squeezed the heck out of me. First red day in a while. Bharat, I'm sorry about that. I will say you have been on one recently. So that red day there, probably only eating into profits. I would imagine you'd be right back at this here. That pull and bounce on Palantir, pretty huge. Were you guys saying that we got a data print there? Bostic, per Izzy here, Bostic's talking about inflation coming. Let's go ahead and check the, where is my order got messed up here.
To answer the question you had there, Jonathan, about Hive. No, I didn't see the news about how they're now producing 8 Bitcoin per day from electric hydropower in Paraguay. Complete
Atlanta
stage 2 of Guazú, or if that's how you pronounce it, project in Paraguay.
Jolt's job openings came in a little light. U.S. factory orders was in line. Durable goods, excluding defense, was in line. And the Jolt's job openings for June were revised to 7.35 million from 7.43 million.
IPDN did open up, and it gapped down and traded lower. Now it's trying to recover.
Bostic says, not obvious that the labor market is materially weakening. With hiring and labor supply both slowing, U.S. remains near full employment. Businesses do not expect a big shift in the labor market, but if that happens, we'll be diligent in the policy response. Remains unclear how consumer spending will evolve. Did not comment on Lisa Cook's situation. Fed needs to stay true to its mission. Businesses still expect a solid year. Those are your summary there from Bostic. Let me go back to the main workspace here.
We'll see what his opinion is after Friday.
That's true. We'll see how many of those opinions change after Friday. Ryan, I'm sorry. We cannot take news down for friends. We report the news, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. I'm sure you'll make the best of it. Rocket trading higher right out of the gate. They're trading like it thinks.
Here we go with AIHS. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Just push back over 7 for a second there.
Right at 7 here.
AIHS has been the best vehicle so far this morning.
It's been an absolute ripper out of the open there. Kevin wants to take a look at RZLV. This is Resolve AI. This is one that we've taken a look at here. This is a pretty nice pop on volume. This is up 13% today. See what we have going on here with this one.
They got a buy rating.
Yeah, buy from Northland. I wonder if that move's exhausted a little bit here. Price target of 5. So pretty close to the price target anyway, less than $1 away now.
That's an interesting looking chart. Got a bit of a golden cross there not too long ago, back in August.
This does look like it's coming up off the bottom. 550 was your recent high. The price target there is at 5.
I do like 5. We'll see what happens with 5. Resolve
Okay.
AI. And Jonathan, that was a great point about
Thanks, Kev.
that crypto name. What was it again? Hive. The ability that they're able to mine Bitcoin is going to provide them with $300 million a year, based on their ability to mine just from that Paraguay location. So good.
All right, real quick here. If you took the Google gap and go, we actually just retested the 9 EMA to the downside. So far, we're holding it in this candle. So I don't know. It really depends on your risk. If you're just closing it right when the candle touches that line, or if you're waiting for a close here, it is basically right at that 9 EMA.
BTBD might need some more time. If we can't hold 325, I would think this is going to come down to 275.
I'm watching this battle on Google here. This 229 is going to be a key spot. I've got that 9 EMA at 229.04.
Oh man, I love that trend line. It back tested it.
It just went right to it. Yeah, just went right to it.
That's it's really nice looking move, Google.
Hive is being officially promoted by the pre-market prep guys. Joel and Dennis, are they trading it? Is it an ad? What's the deal there? Google here looks like it is losing, or it's still battling there. Yeah, it is battling right at that 9 EMA, folks.
Jonathan Cooper had pointed out the big news with Hive, and made a point about the Bitcoin value generated from it. 8 Bitcoin a day, 300 million Bitcoin a year. Also Hive. Imminent Golden Cross. I don't know about this month. Maybe this month. I probably think this month, but I'm a little concerned about how large of a run it's had in just a very short period of time. RSI is over 80. We're currently trying to hold above the 500-day SMA. I get the sense that this might come back in a little bit, but still think that that's some really good news. So we could see momentum in this for some time.
More Google calls getting bought. These the 230s for this week. Looks like there's still more upside attempt there in Google.
AIHS just put a high of 749 in.
Ethereum Trust ETF, ticker ETHA. This plus 4.5%. This at the highs. Okay, so thank you thinking about it. So Hive is an official sponsor there. That helps. Good stuff, though.
We're continuing to go lower here with BTBD.
Yeah.
Now, it's trying to get some support, but just watch that 325 level, in my opinion.
Rocket's still doing good. Tesla bounced nicely from that 330. That's up $1.50 in that bounce spot. Apple did bounce off of 235.
18 could be a resistance spot in Rocket now. I think I would just kind of put that out there. I think Rocket needs to hit the 50-day SMA again,
or recapture it.
No, it's already above it. I think it needs to come back down and test it as support.
Okay.
This is going to be the thing I'm going to be watching for. We have the 20-day SMA at 1809. You have the $18 IPO level in the way as well. I'm going to see if there's going to be some rejection there at that 18, and if there is a rejection at 18, the 20-day SMA, I want to see a test of the 50.
Okay.
I think that could be a good spot.
Still have a couple of trailers on Rocket, although I've trimmed a lot of that position and booked gains.
Fantastic options trade.
Yeah, it sure was. That was a shout out to Felicia. I don't know if she's here on the morning show, but what a thesis that we generated. In happy hour. That paid huge.
Absolutely.
Market is a little weak here. It looks like we're rolling over there, Bharat. Google coming back into its VWAP did lose that 9 EMA, so whatever gap and go was on there, that's closed out.
Yeah, Smoke Tuna, I'm kind of getting that sense too. So see, if we go under 294, it's kind of a dead zone. For me, I need if we get a bounce at that 65 EMA, which is going to be at just above 275. That might give a bit of a turnaround here, but we need to see other indicators match up with it. And so far, it just looks like we're going to be beelining for some more downside. But AIHS, this thing is looking pretty good. Still think we run into some resistance in the 840 area if we get up there.
At this point, I wouldn't be chasing this move myself here in AIHS. I'd be waiting for a pretty substantial pullback. And like we saw in BTBD, when they do pull back, sometimes that can end it. That thing lost its VWAP, hasn't really shown a lot of strength since then.
Yeah, I think, and you guys are right. This market is looking really weak right now. We're tired.
So
it's not past Labor Day weekend yet.
So looking at this, and we kind of talked about this yesterday, right? We kind of talked about maybe early in the day, we see a little bit of a regression back to the mean after the down move yesterday. We had a strong afternoon, so maybe you saw a little bit of continuation. That did not last very long. SPY here actually breaking the lows of the day. The NASDAQ, however, the Qs, not doing that yet. So this is actually still above the lows. Looks like this actually might be trying to bounce here, but SPY did take out those intraday lows. Looks like it's hunting for the next leg lower here.
Well, at least we kind of filled some of the gap. This thing has been, creating gaps so far this week. Gap down, gap up. Now we have the 20-day SMA that could be support here on the SPY. That's going to be at 641.33. We'll see what happens if we get down there.
Here you go, folks. We've been asked about afternoon activity. If you lovely people aren't doing anything this evening, join producer Michael and Mark Benioff for the Salesforce earnings call. That's going to be our big event of the day here. And in fact, while we're at it, here is the look at the earnings here today. Salesforce, but also Figma. Someone mentioned this yesterday. Who's trading Figma? Either right now or for the earnings print. Honorable mention there, AEO, Asana, GitLab, and Credo also reporting after hours here today.
HPE is also one we probably want to keep an eye on too. That one's been on a pretty good run.
PC99, we do not give recommendations here. We call out what we see on scanners, what's moving, and what we think might happen, but we don't give recommendations.
So NUKK, volume's pretty low, but it's trying to turn around here. I don't know how high this is going to go. It looks like 515 could be resistance on low volume. I see that there's a large seller in the way at 525, so that's another spot to keep an eye on, but we need to see some major volume expansion if we're going to get beyond those levels. Meanwhile, AIHS new highs, it's continuing to go higher, 782. We're looking for 840.
Yep. This is a really good mention here. Grats to everyone that's on this. I think I've said it a few times here. Rat took one share of Fig for the laughs. Okay, let us know how that goes. I'm holding a Figma bag, hoping for an after hours pop to let it go. Okay, Josh, I hope you get that. I hope you're able to clear that bag out. BTBD so far is holding 325. That's your intraday low.
And just kind of waiting to see what AIHS does. I think that's until we find that big resistance area. It could be at 8, could be at 840. It's like they're going to keep on trying to push up.
I think for a new trade here in AIHS, I'd really like to see a pull down to one of these levels. Let me throw some of the other EMAs on here so we can take a look at that.
Looks like 8's trying to happen here.
And I'll take weeks like this all the time. Truncated week, NFL starting, good trading days back to back here. I would take this every week if I could. Someone asked about STTK earlier. Sorry, 13. Someone asked what we thought about this. This was basically $1. This has been a penny stock before. Making a nice move here today. I opted to go for something else here. Let's see if there's a piece of news on this one here today. Looks like we had 13D filed yesterday, had some directors buy at an average price of 15 cents. One director bought almost 37 million shares at 15 cents.
Is you're asking me about Lyft? I had a trend line here that started from March of 2024, and I drew it through the highs in November and May. We've broken over that now, so I'm going to be viewing the previous highs that I used the trend line for as resistance areas. So 19 looks to be the next resistance area. Beyond that, maybe 20, but it could be as high as 20.75.
Real quick here. Where are you? Uncle Dirt, thoughts on STTK? I think what you're seeing here is a reaction to the insider buys. My insiders tool is actually showing that those buys took place at 88 cents. That was from yesterday. So it looks like you have some pretty huge buys here on STTK. That looks to be driving the price here today. Raj, sorry, let me answer Raj's question here. The news feed was saying that it was 15 cents. When I look at the insiders tool, which actually calculates that, it says 88 cents. So it does look like STTK is the stock that got bought in pennies. Sorry about that. Had to sneeze and didn't want you to hear it.
Master, I don't know where the bottom is, but areas of support that I can see, it's already been hitting the 65 EMA on the 5-minute multiple times this morning, using that as pretty good support. So that's one area I would be keeping an eye on, is that 65 EMA. It's getting tested right now, so little concerned it's not going to hold up. I've said before, a lot of times when you see these different levels hammered, whether it be the upside or downside, it tends to be a break through those. So we want to start seeing the cent move up and away from the 65 EMA, or else I think we're going to lose it. And if we do, the next area of support that I see is going to be the $5 psychological level, followed by the 200 EMA, which is going to be at 472.
Okay, good stuff there. Anne Marie says the back and forth in the broad market is going to be the hallmark of September. Brian asking me, Ryan, who do you got on Thursday? I got to think that the Eagles win that. If I were betting that game, I would bet Eagles to cover. Part of me is hoping that Dallas can pull off a win there, just mostly for the storylines. I'm not in the business of rooting for the Cowboys, but I would love to hear the storylines after the big trade. If they knock off the defending Super Bowl champs, sports media would actually be watchable the following day. So, but I do think the Eagles are going to win.
AIHS, it's trying to hold over 8. It got as high as 807, but it's having trouble trying to stay above 8. So seems like a lot of sellers are really starting to kick in here. We got that 8 psychological level they're selling at, but if we do get a move up through 8, still think 840 is going to be the beginning of a really big resistance area in AIHS.
Okay. I'm still waiting to pull on this, and boy, I might be that meme with the skeleton just sitting in the seat waiting for a pullback, because there's no pulls coming in AIHS so far. Don't look now, but BTBD might have rebounded off that 325. This did recapture the 348 load level that got mentioned earlier.
I'd be very careful about picking up any pull in AIHS at this point. I feel like the pull, when it's going to come, because it will, it's going to be one that you're not going to want to buy. You're going to wait for some actual bottoming to happen in this, and that might not happen until the afternoon.
And that's my big thing here, right? Like, I don't want to chase because I'm expecting the pull, but when it does pull, I want to make sure I'm not catching the knife. Really tough spot to be in.
Look at Crimp Biscuit, AIHS out at 825, and look at it. It's pulling after hitting 826. Man, you almost top ticked that.
Why did you manipulate the market, Crimp Biscuit? Why did you do that? This is the kind of comments we get here at Benzinga all the time. Stock reverses. Guys, what did you do to the stock? Crimp Biscuit, how did you reverse this?
Well, it's still not finished. It looks like it has pulled back down underneath 8 pretty well, but it's not done. Let's see what continues to happen. We need to see, I think, a loss of it might have to be down underneath 7 before we can be like, oh yeah, this thing's going to be coming in much more now. As long as we can still hold above 7, we might be able to push up into that 840 area, but it's starting to look pretty weak here, especially with these upper shadows. So I think Crimp Biscuit, you did really well. Same with you, Sideshow. Look at that, 810.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Good stuff here from the group. This is what I love to see every day. This is the stuff that fires me up.
Oh man, that was a big pull there. Man, you guys, that near top tick was so good. So
Brian, I've tried to ask the team if we can save some of the best emails and then publish them. That idea got rejected, unfortunately. But you'd be amazed at some of the complaints that we receive. Amazed, as if we are a hedge fund and we are causing people to lose money. It's wild. It's wild.
AIHS down at 7. We got to hold here, or else party could be over for now.
Now here's that pull I was just talking about. Let me actually watch this. I'll pull this up so I can watch the level 2 on this. It did get pulled back basically to this one of these impulse candles up here that went right above 7.
Oh, lost 7. Okay.
There we go.
I think that the chat did fantastic with this.
Me too. The folks that were in it, selling it into the move higher, the folks that were not in it, I don't think anyone chased that. At least no one's admitted to that. By the way, Michael here mentioning that Google seems to be rolling over. How about that 9 EMA? Soon as it crossed that 9 EMA, the momentum here really changed in Google.
Meanwhile, BTBD, that thing's trying to turn around now. We're approaching VWAP. Lots of sellers in the way, but if we get a good volume expansion, we're taking those out. We're pretty close to VWAP. I have that at 382.
BTBD, I'm not in this play. I'd like to see what happens there at the VWAP. Ryan, have you got any emails from wives wondering where y'all have been used as scapegoats? That is a new one. I have not got that one yet. AIHS so far is bouncing here, 735. Boy, that's wild, though. I'll tell you what, there's buys and sells all over this tape here. Price is really bouncing around. Makes it a little bit more difficult to trade. Yeah, we'll see if it carves out a bottom here, though.
Yeah, still looking to see if we get that 840 print, but or in that consolidation. But I think everybody that did the trade and got out where they did, I think they did really, really well.
Tesla going for new highs now, looking like it's trying to take out those highs. Also, oops, clicked on the wrong one here. Looks like Apple's recovering off of that profit-taking dip. Still have half of the position here in terms of calls. I'd love to be able to see a 240 test, probably close that out. Maybe keep one as a runner. Zach says he's not buying any rebounds here. Zach, the market got you worried about that. That sell-off that we talked about earlier, that totally reversed, right? The Q's held its intraday lows. The SPY set some new ones, but now we're basically back to above the open price here on SPY. Market actually looking like it's firming up here. AIHS continuing to trade higher here. 750 might be your next spot on AIHS.
So, thank you for bringing this up, Jonathan. But this is a new issue today, ABTC.
This is an IPO. I haven't checked that morning report. I haven't been sharing that in the morning. Is that an IPO today?
It looks like it, yeah. And it's halted on a circuit breaker right now.
What was the ticker? I don't have any on the morning report here.
ABTC.
ABTC.
So BTC, but with an A in front of it.
Yeah, that does. Actually, I've got a candle from yesterday. That candle's from today. I'm sorry. You're right. It looks like this is just it here today. Halted to the upside there at 10.99 or 11. With saying that was a reverse split, that ATBC.
Oh, ABTC. wait. Was this a because was this like
it's the GRYP name change. I think Tracy's on this one.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's what I was kind of wondering about because there's no news for this ticker before today. So that's kind of what I was wondering if this is an IPO. Thank you.
Good. Good stuff there, Trace. Good stuff, Trace.
And is he saying Fubo is running?
It seems to me that Fubo gives us like these fake outs in the morning. Is that fair? Let's see what the chart looks like here.
Well, they just launched a new.
Yeah, you know what? It held it yesterday. That's not quite fair. The Fubo held its gains yesterday. It was the day before it popped right out of the open and bled all the way back.
A little bit of short interest there too, I think. 15.27, almost 3 days of cover. Not exactly the parameters we're looking for, but close. So AIHS still having a hard time getting back above 8. Went as high as 774 in this current candle before backing off. I think this comes in. BTBT, this looks like it's trying to get back above VWAP. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're totally fine. Tesla here cleared those pre-market highs. Tesla actually looking pretty good here today. And I'll be honest, I don't want to make too early of a call here, but it looks like that weakness yesterday has pretty much been deleted. At least so far. We'll see if this market rolls over again. Tried to push higher and couldn't. See if it breaks down from here. FLR also holding higher here, 43.80. Looking like it's struggling with 44 there, but doing a good job holding higher. And then did anyone hold GRYP for the change? Help our buddy work out here. If you held for the change, how many shares of ABTC did you get for your GRYP? I didn't have either of those. Thank you, Jonathan. 5-1. Okay.
This is another fantastic morning here, you guys.
I'll tell you what, I could get used to this.
Well, it still looks like Cint is trying to hold up that 65 EMA mass order. So I don't know. Don't like the volume.
Okay, App Lovin', look at ticker APP here. Big time shout out to Lion, who has been on this through all of the down moves. Yassine, I know you were trading this as well. This inverse head, or excuse me, this head and shoulders that we had on here, this is completely invalidated. This looks like a 500 test coming, and then after that, we have the all-time highs up there at 520 and change.
Light path recovering. It looks like it's trying to hit the session high again. See some resistance at 627 where the session high was, and then after that, 645, large seller.
Here's your light path, LPTH.
IPDN has halted the downside. I think somebody mentioned that earlier. This thing, if you want to, try this later in the afternoon, that's up to you. But this thing is back down to the start. Looks like NUKK turning around off that 5 level. So let's see some recovery here.
Bob mentioning HWH. This was one of the winners from yesterday.
Looks like BTBD is trying to make a push over VWAP at this moment. We'll see if the volume expands enough to get above it.
Nice little volume pop here, HWH.
BTBD is hitting that 380 seller at VWAP, trying to push above it.
Put that on screen here for you. That sure is. I've got the same VWAP in TradingView and my broker. It looks like BTBD struggling with that.
Really just need to see the expansion of volume. I think that's the one component we need here at this moment.
Apple's still marching its way back towards the highs. Tech tune-up, so Paul Meeks likes Apple. Okay, it's AAPL, not APPL. By the way, BTBD did just move through its VWAP right there.
Looking for 4. Okay, Jonathan, are you looking for? I mean, it's already moving great right now. What are we thinking here? Because that float, yes, that's going to cause this thing to be move some more. What's your price target on this for today? By the way, BTBD approaching 4 and about to hit it. If it didn't just hit it there, I think it's a couple cents shy. Yeah, but it's right there. At 4.
Yeah, I have that high at 397 was your high print. Oh, App Lovin', gotcha. Okay, so Paul Meeks from Tech Tune-Up likes App Lovin', APP. Got it. Thanks, Zach.
Look at my chart and see what that looks like. Gosh, it looks like BTBD is going to take 4 in just a second.
Not in it myself. I already scalped this one for several $100s here today. Nice little scalp.
It's hitting 4. Seller's not disappearing quite yet. App Lovin' probably goes to 525. Either it's going to blast through that, or it's and make new all-time highs, or it's going to get rejected there.
Rhett, out for $15. You got yourself lunch. Hey, I tell you what, worse that or better than losing $15 and losing lunch.
Light path popped up to 637 and came right back in.
Tuna saying he wants to see that volume expand here on BTBD and assigning a 560 price target if we get those conditions. Tuna, I think this is going to need the volume to get there, isn't it?
I mean, it's starting to get that kind of volume. It's starting to get that.
Yeah.
We are past that. Hey, take care, Judge. Good to have you with us.
Good stuff, Judge.
And it is past that 10:30 time where we do see volume lead the market. So it looks like there's only going to be a select few names that actually have volume. BTBD might be one of them. Still trying to capture 4.
Izzy, you were asking about Lyft earlier. Nice little pop out of the gate here. It's since lost VWAP, and we really can't recover VWAP here. I would think for another trade in Lyft, we would really need to move above this VWAP. Would like to see some more increased volume here. Not sure if we're going to get that on Lyft.
Ugly.
Is Tuna in Ryan BTBD? Izzy, let's keep it clean here, okay?
IPDN is very ugly now. This has lost all support in the pre-market. We're coming down to session highs from yesterday, and we're doing that by way of halt downs.
Yes, IPDN, this is a nasty move here. Hope this is almost cut in half from its highs here today. Hopefully whoever traded this here today is still okay. BTBD actually looks like this might make another attempt through 4 here. This is going to be its second attempt.
Yeah, and AIHS, this is really starting to accelerate the selling. Next support is going to be down around 620, and beneath that, the VWAP, that's 575. I still think we could end up going lower than that, but those areas of support should see the price action, stall or get some bit of a lift before it goes lower.
Izzy, you'll have to ask Tuna. I'm not sure if he's in it. I just know he's calling what he sees here on a regular basis.
Ooh, big pull in BTBD after that.
Yeah, there it is.
To get through 4.
And it actually lost the VWAP during that pull. Now, let me put that on screen here. Sorry about that.
This, let's see, where's this going? Oh, this is probably one of the support areas. Now it's got to recapture that 362. It's like STI is going to come down to the 200 EMA. AIHS still falling.
LPTH might not be done. This might try and go. SMR is continuing its strength here. This would have been a really good gap and go. Where's Barat at? This would have been the stock to play here today. SMR continued move after its really nice afternoon move yesterday.
BTBD really selling off now.
That actually looks like it might lose those lows, huh?
Looks like
325 was where it stopped before. New lows now.
65 EMA is the next support area. If it doesn't hold above the 325. Perhaps 325 was the spot, but it's
the load zone. Yeah, you're right.
It's got to hold. Michael's all over SMR.
That's what we want to hear.
Smoke Tuna, you're saying AIHS load zone is 605, 537. Is that what we're seeing here? All right, well, looks like AIHS trying to recover. GEG heading lower. IPDN trying to get some support from the 200 EMA, but it's not able to hold, it looks like. I think we just need to thank the market for what we got and just enjoy our day and come back maybe later this afternoon and see what's happening, because I don't think all of these are done yet, but it's certainly going to be polling in this low volume environment, at least until after the lunch hour is over.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be forcing any other trades this morning.
Yep. I don't think there's a reason to force anything here.
I don't think so either.
And remember what we saw yesterday, right? We saw weakness in the morning and we saw a different environment in the afternoon. That might be something else to pay attention to here. We're showing some strength in the morning here. Markets are really kind of holding the higher pre-market range that it carved out earlier. But we want to see if that strength holds into the afternoon.
Let's see what we got here. That's not nearly far enough. I was going to see if the SQQQ TQQQ trade was setting up. But
yeah, it looks too compressed for that trade setup.
Not a big enough distance away from VWAP with the price. So we need to see SQQQ come down some more. We need to see the TQQQ rise more. We need, it's not set up yet.
Yeah, it doesn't have the setup. Tesla, more new highs, 340 coming here. 3D wants to take a look at Rivian. Is that moving on the back of Tesla? I did notice that Lucid options were trading there. Lucid's not really doing much. Actually, Rivian looks pretty good today, 1467 here. This is higher on volume. What does the daily look like on Rivian? Okay, so took out the recent high here. I got to think your next target, if we continue to move to the upside, maybe 16 and a half RIVN?
Somewhere between there and 17. It looks like 17 is a really tough spot for Rivian.
Yep.
Going back to last year. AIHS might be trying to push up again, but we need more volume than this if we're going to go higher.
More Tesla calls. I am seeing some puts here, but more Tesla calls. One of the pieces of news, I didn't get a chance to share this earlier because we ran into Tim Melvin. You'll see it here on the BZ Wire. Elon Musk predicts 80% of Tesla's value will be in Optimus. Promises more master plan for specifics as EV giants push towards AI. Here's the story for anyone that's interested in this. I'll throw this in the chat for anyone that's following Tesla here. But here's what we got. I heard you say, so I'm assuming that you have a backup or a follow-up question here.
Oh, that's just what I've been saying. I don't think it's robotaxi. I don't think it's their cars. I think it's Optimus. That's where Tesla's value is going to come from. Now you have Musk confirming it. Thank you, Musk.
Yeah, you had whole Mars catalog here. What are the steps to achieve Master Plan Part 4? Scale, full self-driving, and Optimus, I guess. Elon Musk tweets back, those are the biggest factors, and then outlines that 80% of Tesla's value will be Optimus. It's also worth noting here, David Lee says, I'm thinking this is just the intro to Master Plan Part 4. The real Master Plan ought to have more specifics, just my 2 cents. Elon Musk, again, responding, fair enough, we'll add more. So for anyone that's interested in this, maybe do this or review this article. Tesla appears to be responding to that here today. I don't see any other news that would have really kind of jumped this.
Yeah. Everybody's going to have their own robot, their own personal robot at some point. And they're going to train it. And then those robots will have their own value.
iRobot is coming.
It's totally what's coming. We're if not, we're already there. Grok AI is Vicky. You can.
My Grok does have a female voice. I feel like I listen to it more.
You can draw a lot of parallels with what happened in iRobot and what's happening right now. It's pretty funny. There are a lot of parallels. Energy division. Well, I mean, aren't they, Jay? Aren't they like America's biggest battery producer now? I would much rather get Johnny 5 before we get Wally. Yeah, Wally was a good robot, but so was Johnny 5, and he's alive. Wow, look at the TQQQ just ripped now. That might be setting up the SQQQ trade soon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which one? So TQQQ is ripping to the highs, so that means SQQQ moving to the lows. Let's see if we have a target price for that.
It's only 20 cents away right now. We need to see 5 times that. BM&R ripping? Is it ripping with crypto?
Here is BMNR. I think Izzy mentioned this earlier. Izzy was on this one early when it first started to pop. Looks like we're getting the next leg higher now, BMNR. And also BTBD might be trying to take out the bounce high there from its last attempted bounce. I have that value at 352.
Rhett, my understanding is that OPEC wants to increase production. So that's going to, create more supply and lower prices. That's my understanding. I could, be missing something, but that's
crude down 2.5% on that. So I would imagine that the oil stocks follow that.
Yeah. Yep. AIHS still trying to push up. I'm not trading it, but it's looking like it's trying to get back up over 7.
Zach says, imagine if the female optimists started nagging you that you don't pay enough attention to them. We already learned the solution to this from Empire Strikes Back. When C-3PO suggests that the crew of the Millennium Falcon surrender to the Empire, they simply turned them off. So I would do the same thing in that case. Just try to have some fun here with Zach's hypothetical.
Just watching the SQQQ. I think we need to see somewhere closer to $17 if we're going to see a setup in this trade.
I really feel like we're going to need a move. I mean, I guess if you're looking at the SQQQ, you probably want to see a move in the NASDAQ. It almost needs to feel like a blow off. The move higher so far in the NASDAQ feels like a dip and then a grind to highs. We really want to see that push to highs. That would set up that Q's trade.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of stuff is just kind of consolidating. Not sure what it wants to do right now.
Crimp Biscuit is out after that.
Yep.
Nice day there. Go enjoy the rest of your day, Crimp Biscuit. That's a hell of a way to get it done.
Oh yeah, he nailed it today. That was a great exit on AIHS. Light Path trying to push back up towards the session high of 637. It's doing it on low volume. Producer, that's, maybe it wasn't my intention, but that's a good reason to stay off social media, especially if you're on Facebook.
Don't build up a history that the robots can then exploit when they become your overlords later.
Yeah, we don't need Zuckerberg's robot army of the Zucks coming to after us.
That would Zuck, no question about it.
And I'm not seeing anything that looks interesting right now. I'm seeing it AIHS trying to move up through 7 some more, but I don't want to touch this. What's up?
Lynn with the comment of the day. Thank you, Robot Overlord. Oh, by the way, please look like Tom Brady. Lynn, that's awesome. Oh, that's a good laugh here today.
Goat AI, right?
Man, oh man, is that funny?
That's probably true. Man from Snowy River. That's probably true. Monetized all the data since 2006, 2005. Whenever the Facebook started.
You guys. Oh, this group never disappoints. Never disappoints. AIHS does look like it's trying to bounce here. I still don't trust this bounce. Tuna, I think you said that this needs to cool down earlier. I agree with that. I think that this would really need a flush and then a hold to really kind of set up a new trade.
I am not saying social media is Facebook. It is one of the social media platforms, but I was just mentioning that.
That was the one that you were on, right? That was the one that you...
Not only that, but we were just talking about Zuckerberg and he owns Facebook. But I'm not saying that that's social media. It's not all of social media.
Yeah, most of the social media is X now.
Ooh, Simp with a nasty fall beneath the 65 EMA. So that finally happened. TQQQ still grinding higher. You can see the dollar spread away. We're still a ways away from that. What was somebody was mentioning GEG? How do you read GEG earnings? How is it destroyed? Well, let's take a look. Great Elm Group earnings. Let's see what we got here. And it might not even be the earnings that are pulling it down. It could have been something in the conference call that I thought happened earlier this morning. So it could have been getting pulled down on that. Let's see.
Whole 9 yards. You've mentioned open a few times. I'm sorry I haven't gone to it. Let's take a look and see what Open Door is doing. Man, not a whole lot. It looked like it was going to have a active pre-market there. We pulled out of the open. We're basically right back to that pre-market range. I would like something to happen here. Maybe a break above that 545. Maybe a breakdown beneath 5. I don't see a whole lot going on in open right now, to be honest. Man, SMR, no chill, continuing its extension move here.
Yeah, sorry I don't have the best answer for you on GEG, but it seems to me like, yeah, the earnings were great, and that's what kept it up. But as soon as that conference call started, it really just did nothing but leak. So I would just say, let's see if you can pour over the transcript to find out what was shaking out investors. They're still grinding higher in the Qs. These are going lower in the SQQQ, squeezing shorts in the broad indices. Nice. Open hits a trend line and rejects. Open, I haven't looked at that this morning. Up 5.25%. Looks like it still wants to try and print higher. We had that recent print on August 25th. That took us up to 587. And it looks like, to me, like 620, 650.
Sorry, which stock are you looking at?
Open Door.
Got it.
Looks like 620 to 650 is going to be an area of resistance if we can get past that high from the 25th of August.
540 looks to be a spot here. I got to take care of this before we switch shows. BRB.
All right. Can I look at ABTC? We've looked at ABTC so far this morning. This is the one that was merging with, or that had a ticker change, and it was merging with. Folks, help me out here. Was this a HUT 8? Tell me. This was a ticker change and a merger. I believe. I don't know enough about this one to give you some good opinions, but the chat has been all over this one. They know what's going on with this one more than I do. And NVIDIA and Dyson would be an amazing robot if it could climb a few stairs. Like Dyson, the vacuum and the vacuum company, because hey, I'd be down for a vacuum that walks up and down stairs and cleans the stairs. That'd be great. Move high of day says WIS. Looking like Z Scalar is a trade. Well, didn't ZS just have earnings yesterday? Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. They ripped initially, and then they came back in. And they've got a whole bunch of price targets here now. Looks like a lot of institutions believe this is worth more than $300. We are experiencing market weakness right now, so this is still trading lower. Need to see a recapture of that 20-day SMA, which is at 274. I think that's going to be something we need to see happen here if we're going to anticipate more upside. AIHS is moving up again. All right. Oh, it looks like SQQQ is trying to turn around, but it's not the kind of trade setup that I'm looking for here. So it can do what it wants. I'm not interested in it for that small amount of a move away from VWAP. I wanted to see more of a dollar away, not just 20, 25 cents.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Which one were we looking at there? BT looks done.
Yeah, it's looking like this is about to head lower. Might come down to the 65 EMA here in just a bit. Volume is not great. We were getting a mention that AIHS is trying to push up again. It's in the 7 handle approaching 750, where there's a seller. So we'll see what happens. Light path also trying to push up higher.
Multiple repeat put sweeps here on UPXI. Those are the 750s.
And we were also looking at Zscaler because they had earnings. And
yep. How did they finish up, by the way, Zscaler?
Well, they're lower now. They need to recapture the 20-day SMA. I think this doesn't look great. It looks like this could still head lower, especially if it can't recapture that SMA. So we'll see what we end up getting here today. But it's looking like 275 is going to be a resistance area, even though you have all these analysts saying it's worth more than 300.
Yeah. What a rough earnings print. This beat traded above 300, gave back a lot of it, now moved lower here today. Yikes. Not good performance there. LPTH, see if we take those highs out. AIHS is going.
It's
still needs to take out 8.
It's certainly trying to. I think the volume needs to be better than this. 750 is going to be the area where it's got to push through, and then you got looks like 785 would be the next spot after that. What's coming up next?
We got story trading coming up next. Looks like we have Ben. I think we're going to have Red and the Godfather as well. So story trading coming up next here. No all access today. We'll welcome Ben on and see how he's doing and what they're trading here. Kevin, take care of yourself. You are a G.
Take care, Kevin. And, AIHS, maybe it does go to new highs here pretty soon, but I feel like the bigger move is probably coming later today. I want to see the 65 EMA get closer to the VWAP. Now, if we start to get close to where the 65 EMA crosses VWAP, I think you're going to get a big high volume move. A lot of times that can happen. So I think we're a little bit too far away between those, the VWAP and the 65 EMA. So when we start to get closer, like they're about to cross, that's when I think the big move's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like BTBD is about to fall out of bed here.
Yeah, that don't look good at all. CoreWeave actually don't look great either. This is trying to defend yesterday's lows. Yeah, just passing through says, great day as usual. That's what I like to hear. Have a great rest of your day, and to you, just passing through.
And yeah, CoreWeave was getting hammered yesterday on NVIDIA's fall. Hasn't recovered. Looks like it could come down to 85 before it finds support again. Even down there, I'd be careful.
We had a bunch of insider selling here after that lockup that we had talked about. Bunch of insiders. Tesla calls getting bought. Repeat sweeps here. Tesla still at the highs today. This was a nice reversal trade here in Tesla. Like it.
Ooh. I'm not holding SMCI, Cam, but this has had quite the fall. We are down at the bottom of this sideways channel that I got marked off here, and we're getting some support from the 200 EMA. Cannot lose. I'm sorry, SMA, the 200-day SMA. Cannot lose that. We lose that, we're going to probably come well under 40. I'd say somewhere, into the mid 30s, maybe even lower than that. Losing the 200-day SMA would be very bad, I think.
CEH Life asking you about your broker here. He says, I have Fidelity and Charles Schwab, but I don't see the same information you're referencing. This is regarding the level 2. I have the same issue. We've talked about this on stream before. I only see the numbers as the price actually gets close to that. So when 13 looks ahead, looks like he's got a full view of the level 2 ladder there.
I don't have a full view, but it does go pretty high up on my platform using Webull right now. And I have subscribed to the level 2 data. So if you don't have that level 2 data, that's probably one of the reasons you're having with not being able to see anything. The other is that the tool that I'm using is called their price ladder. Other brokers call it a matrix.
Active trader is what it's called. And
yeah, so it's got different names for it, and in mine, it's basically going to show you where the current price is, followed by all the sell orders that are outstanding on one side, all the buy orders outstanding on the other side, and you also have the volume traded today at all those price levels. So very helpful at identifying where the big price action is, where the sellers and buyers are. It's gives me a good idea of where we're going to see some breakouts or rejections. Not always guaranteed, but depending on how big it is, you get a sense of whether or not you're going to get rejected or see a breakthrough. So it's very helpful. Hopefully that helps you out.
Closing words for the group, 13.
Hey, another wonderful day trading with everybody. And I hope we have another wonderful day like this. Great hump day. And tomorrow is going to be even better day, no matter how we trade, because we have football back.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to trading with all of you all tomorrow. Stay green. I'll see you later. Have a good morning, buddy. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you, 13. Don't forget, we're going to have Eddie Glinsky, Managing Director of Alternative Investments from Direction, on in the morning as well. So we'll ask him about some ETFs and maybe also his picks as well. But it's time for story trading. Let's go ahead and bring on the boys here. Ben, Rhett, Godfather, how you guys doing here today? You having a good morning too?
Good. I didn't think I'd be here. I had a laser eye procedure this morning, and voila, I'm here.
All right. How is it? Can you see better? Do you see everything now?
Quick and painlessly. I think it's actually a little bit better, but I'm blurry. I'm dilated and stuff. So we'll see. It'll take a few weeks for full recovery. But that was easy. That was quick, and surprise, I'm here.
All right. Good stuff. We'll just tell people you were eating mushrooms instead. Take it away, Ben.
Rhett, Godfather, what's up? So glad to have the whole team back. It's been a couple of weeks. I don't think we've been all together, but wow. Before we talk about the macro, look at this number one pick of the day, Rhett. We marked this as the number one pick of the day, LPTH. Rhett, you've been doing stats on that. What's our track record on the number one pick of the day?
So number one pick of the day, I believe we're at 78%.
78%, and average return is like 6% or something on the day, right?
5.4.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So look at this one. We gave this to you in pre-market, and I gave you a target of 695 for the day. LPTH, it's a 644. All right, just had to do that. Let me do a quick macro thoughts, and then I'll give it to the Godfather for his macro thoughts. And honestly, I'm a little bit surprised at the strength today. You see QQQ SPY being helped by the big moves in Google and Apple after that court ruling last night. QQQ not quite back above the 20 DMA. SPY looking beautiful though. That's just a beautiful 2 days of candles on SPY. But I've been cautious. I flipped to yellow alert since Friday, and despite the move last night in Google, Apple, QQQ, and SPY, I maintained my yellow alert status, which I'm not hedging at all. It just means I'm being more selective in stock picking. That's what it means. And honestly, I don't trust this move. I will note that IWM held this breakout level, though, right here to the penny. You see this, guys? August 13th, high of day, 231.46. Yesterday, low of day, 231.47. So it held that breakout level to the penny. It's just a lot of interesting things going on with gold as well. I guess people think lower rates are coming, and that's why inflation expectations going up for the long term. I think that's why gold is going up, and that's why IWM has held that support. But I don't know. I just there's so many factors this month. What were they, man? There were like 7 of them. It was crazy. Well, one of them was ETH was below the 20 DMA, and now it's back above the 20 DMA. So that's good. All right. Then we had the failure to rally on inline PCE on Friday. We have a record high max positioning for hedge funds. CTAs were at like 1 trillion margin debt. We're in September seasonality. So like for all of those reasons, I've been in yellow alert status since Friday morning, and it was kind of right to do that for a couple days. Today, is this a one-day rally because of Google, Apple? I fear that this is going to be a month of extreme chop and volatility. Maybe we're not going to get that seasonal pullback we didn't get in August. Maybe you don't get that big seasonal pullback in September. But given all these factors I just talked about, plus the possibility that the tariffs might have to be clawed back and refunds paid, there's a lot of things going on, which makes me suspicious that September could be a wild chop month, and you could get in trouble chasing the pops. That's my current thinking on the macro, Godfather. Now, despite that yellow alert, like I go balls to the walls on individual stocks. So when we have catalysts, like I got a 10% position in LPTH this morning, and it's paying off. So it doesn't change, what I do by a lot, except I'm more selective on the catalysts that I play. So that's my thoughts. Godfather, over to you.
Yeah, look, I'm completely aligned with you. I am also, actively playing these picks of the day. Great call also on SMR, I must say. 32% short interest on that name. This thing was 53.50, just in the end of July. So it potentially has some moves here. Incredible.
RSI looks good too.
From when they announced this deal, the stock was around $33. So I'm impressed by that. But yeah, just flipping back to the macro, look, I don't think you can ignore what's going on in terms of global bond yields across the world. We're seeing central banks cut rates, but yet we're seeing long-term rates actually tick higher. And, that's systemic of a market that, is cautious of sticky inflation and is concerned about economic slowdown. And that's a stagflationary environment. And that's, the worst possible environment for both the Fed and for stocks. So, these fears were in the market yesterday. Like you said, we had a sneaky reclaim of the 21-day EMA on SPY going into the close. And then, of course, this news after the market popped both of these indices. So look,
why is TLT?
What's that?
So why is TLT up so sharply today? I missed the economic data this morning. I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. I mean, there were slightly fewer job openings this morning. It came in at 7.18 versus 7.38. So that leads things a little bit more dovishly. So, and I think it's a bit of a clawback of the action that we saw yesterday. But, in addition to playing these names, individual catalyst names on the long side, I continue to chip away at SOXS as an additional hedge to my portfolio here, because I do believe, that we've got, you can't go into September and not talk about seasonality. We didn't see any of this sort of weakness in August. So I do expect we're going to see something here in September. We did have the 30-year in the U.S. go over 5% overnight. It's clawed back underneath that now. But the 10-year hit the levels that we hadn't seen since August 1st. This is kind of concerning. So I agree with this yellow light, yellow alert sort of status. I think you want to be in higher conviction names and at this point in time.
We have news on Fannie Mae. I just got an alert, up 5% today. Look at that daily chart breaking out. I love the stock. I have some in my retirement account, but I love trading it when we have catalysts. Wow, look at this.
I don't see actually any headlines on that, but look, you called it out in the morning note. Pulte saying expect something this week, right?
That's right. I did call that out. Well, you read my note. You read even the fine print. Even the fine print you're reading.
You know what?
There you go.
You'll remember 2 weeks ago on the show, I was going on a rant about housing in the second half of the year.
Yeah, with the mail.
Levers that the Trump administration could pull in terms of, easing zoning and incentives for home builders, and basically lowering the regulatory burden and all of this to increase affordability. And voila, you get Besson talking about possibly declaring a housing emergency. So,
by the way, this is the passage. Is this showing here? No, but I'll just read it. This is what was in the morning note since yesterday morning. It says speculation this is regarding Freddie and Fannie. Speculation is high around potential federal housing policy changes, with U.S. Director of Federal Housing William Pulte teasing a big week ahead, possibly tied to Trump administration plans for a national housing emergency, regulatory cuts, and impacts on Fannie and Freddie. The administration previously teased a plan for Fannie and Freddie IPO this year. So I wrote it, didn't do anything about it, and now you see the Fannie up 6% right now. Something must have just hit somewhere.
As you know, I'm watching Nail as well, right? Which is the the 3X home builders and building supply ETF, which is, for obvious reasons, a lot of sensitivity to this news. And I've been cautious here because, the rates piling up is the biggest thing, that sees weakness in housing. And we had the 10-year, as I mentioned, jump yesterday. We've come back a little bit. But despite that, look at Nail. You're up again today. So, there's anticipation here that they'll be doing something in terms of this. And, what I think is interesting for all those guys that may be on the show that are playing open, one of the things that's being speculated is corporate curbs to, buying of residential homes. This is core to Eric Jackson's, $82 thesis. So if that's part of it, and there's no confirmation of that, by the way, those are all just rumors. We don't know exactly what's going to be in this national housing emergency, but clearly doing that would have some impact on affordability. So it's worth keeping note of.
I got smoked on open. When was it? It was Friday. It must have been, when was it? August 29th. Here it is. This candle here. I don't know. It doesn't look that terrible. I must have had a bad entry. It was like the day after the management, they canceled their program to sell stock, and then someone bought some stock. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have a great Friday, and I just got absolutely murdered on open, and I just had a bad taste in my mouth. Didn't re-enter. Anyway, thanks for bringing it back.
We should talk about LightPath again here with the stock at.
All right, here we go. Top pick of the day. So I've seen this floating around on X for a while. I never researched the company though, so I was primed to act on it if there was good news, since there's some folks who I respect who've been talking about it. But the news this morning, the headline says LightPath Technologies secures $18.2 million purchase order to supply advanced infrared camera system. In the body of this press release, it says that they expect a secondary order over the course of 2022 up to
22 million. So
40 million.
Yeah, look.
What do you know about this company? I just looked at the number there and I compared it to the market cap, and I'm like, this looks cheap. Let me jump in. That's all I know.
Yeah, look, I mean, they last reported, they are reporting in 2 weeks, by the way, on September 18th, and the estimate for this upcoming quarter is just 12 million in revenue. So on a trailing 12-month basis, these guys did around 34 million in revenue. So this is material. Their key product here is this Edge IR infrared camera. So it includes AI accelerators that support AI algorithms that do inference at the edge in these cameras. Here's the interesting thing, and here's a sales pitch for being part of the story trading community. One of their contributors and active members mentioned that Maris Tech, MTech, actually provides hardware and software, and actually these guys provide exactly what I'm talking about, the Halo 8 AI accelerators, which are key hardware and firmware that go into these cameras. So look, LightPath has at least 6 major programs, including as a subcontractor to Lockheed Martin. Each of those 6 major programs, this is prior to the announcement of the deal today, are 10 million.
Did you know about all this before today, or you just researched it today?
So it, like you, was kind of on my radar, but there's just so many names, and there wasn't anything that was happening. The stock was sort of treading water down here in the fours. But I think that this link to Maris is kind of not fully understood by the market. Yes, Maris is up 7%. Stock's relatively illiquid, with only 100,000 shares having traded. But what's interesting is there's even warrants on Maris that are good until January of 27 that have a strike at 525. And these things are trading cheaply at 33 cents. So there's a tremendous amount of leverage there. If the market starts to draw connections between these two. And look, these guys are a provider to the likes of Anduril and the guys providing the next gen defense tech. So this is one of the hottest themes in the market, and I think that this is just getting started. So
interesting. I'll have to dig in. I had those warrants for like 6 months, and then I just It was like a month ago I gave up on it. I was just cleaning up my account. I had all this like stuff.
So it's not just a drone
names.
play, right? It's it's an edge AI play, not unlike BZAI or what we're seeing out of OUST.
Yeah.
Similar physical AI.
Cool. All right, there you go. Light path. Did we talk about SMR briefly? SMR. I'm in this. This is just a beautiful setup between the technicals and the catalyst. And yesterday I had a great day because of some conference they were at that apparently did well. And I don't know the details about that, but that's why I was up yesterday. And then this morning there was some news about largest SMR power commitment in U.S. history. There you go. Says Bank of America.
Yes, 6 gigawatts for Tennessee Valley Authority overall. They do power in 7 states. This is through all 7 states that they provide power. 6 gigawatts is a massive number.
Huge short position. Beautiful chart. RSI had reset. It's still not overbought here with this move today. I think this thing is going to $45 at least, maybe by today, if not today, this week. So
yeah, I think it could push the 50 and go back into that sort of all-time high territory in the 53.
Well, then we got to pick up some call options. I put that in the Discord a few minutes ago. I'm like, if anyone's playing call options in SMR, BMNR, Galaxy, let me know which one. I might follow you.
I'm in the October 17 42 strikes, by the way.
October 17th, 42 strikes?
Yeah.
I'm going to buy some right now because I just love this setup right now.
Right. While you're doing that, I'll point out that my hedge SOXS just did a new high of the day. So again, this 11 o'clock hour Eastern time is a key one in terms of market reversals, and almost
it happens all the time. It's sad.
Yeah, and here we are. So late day weakness. I think seasonality just can't be ignored. We're down typically 1.6% in September, and add in some weakness in October, and you're typically down 2.5% or more. This market needs to come off, 5% plus, in my opinion. Just to consolidate the gains.
Yeah, very possible. Or best case scenario, just wild chop that makes it hard to trade the trend and the breaks out. I don't like that contract too far out for me. I got next Friday $43 calls for $2.27. So
you go, DJ.
Hey, I don't do zero DTEs like Rhett here. Rhett, you haven't said much. Why don't we start with your thoughts on the macro first?
Yeah, so the macro, I'm exactly with you guys on it. I think we're going to see some extreme volatility here. For the first hour between SPY and QQQ, all we saw was a chop zone, and it was pretty much just hitting people's stop losses. Unless you're like a scalper, there was no directionality this morning in either or SPY or QQQ for the first hour. So trying to place trades was a little difficult. I got chopped out on my first trade on QQQ. I chased the 10 a.m. news data drop, economic, and I ended up taking a loss on that. And I caught the next trade, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to experience a lot more choppiness for September.
Yeah, cool. I like the consensus here. It looks like we're all in agreement.
The other one I actually just learned in the community was ASTS. So I just picked it up. I scalped it off the bottom here. This is a pure technical play. I'm currently up only 5% on these call options, but I have a 20% stop loss in place. So I'm expecting a little bounce here for 20%, 20 to 40% return.
All right. That looks good. All right. Let's see what else we got here on individual names. So,
we got to talk AEO, I guess.
I will. I'll do that. So LP, let me just summarize here. So LPTH and SMR are two of my top picks on the day. AEO, I am in this. Look, how do you not buy Sydney Sweeney? Look, for me right now, let me see. I think my position size is large enough that I could sell a bunch before 4 p.m., which I'm going to do. Yeah, I have a 6% position. So I'm going to sell at least half before 4 p.m. I'm anticipating, look, we already have some relative strength today, but I think we'll see a surge into the 3:30 p.m. or so, 3:30 to 4 hour. I just think there's a lot of people who are going to want to own this stock to hear what management says about the impact of Sydney Sweeney on foot traffic, sales, whatever. It's not going to be in the quarter just reported, but they have a full month of data now, I believe, since that campaign launched. So they should give.
But it's
They
not
should
just
be able to give.
right? It's the Travis Kelce thing as well.
And Travis Kelce as well. I think Sydney Sweeney is, more impactful. But
I don't know, not now, because all I see is the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I feel like that's has a bigger
that's
impact.
a bonus. We covered that day, and that's actually when I got back in. I'm like, all right, now we got a twofer. But yeah, bottom line, I think there's going to be a lot of people who want to own the stock into the earnings report, expecting management to give positive commentary on what's happened with sales in the past month. That's my thesis. That's why I'm in it for an event anticipation run. But I don't love to take earnings risks, so I'm going to sell half of it at least before the report, and then if I love what I hear, I'll buy it back higher. That's how I'm playing it. Godfather, how about you? How are you playing this?
Yeah, I'm with you. I am going to keep some runners into earnings, but we'll, depending on the magnitude of the anticipation run into the end of the day. I look at Macy's and incredible performance here. I mean, stocks
they
up
had earnings this morning.
On.
Wow, 17%. I saw this in pre-market. It was 11%. And the headlines didn't seem so impressive to me. Why?
No, this is it. It was okay. Sure, they had some same-store sales strength here, but that's an incredible reaction. And I went back and I was like, well, is Macy's like one of these 30% short names? And no, it's not. It's actually less than 10%. So
wow, interesting.
I don't know what that means for retail, but I if there's a read-through there, it's potentially positive for AEO. And, we really didn't see or haven't seen any follow-on momentum from the move yesterday. So.
And then Dollar
I would point out though that this stock is up 35%.
AEO
is up 35% since July.
Yeah.
Macy's had a less challenging setup going into the quarter, but it was also up almost 18% in the same time period. So I'm actually quite bullish about the potential here for AEO.
Cool. All right. So if you're quite bullish on that, then I'm definitely keeping some for the report.
I agree with you. You got to be risk managing your position here.
Yeah. I like playing event anticipation a lot. It's one of my favorite trades. Okay. Let's see. I got to find out what's going on with there must be something that dropped on Fannie at this top of our show right at 11 o'clock. I got to look into that to see what's going on there. Oh, ETH back above the 20 DMA. Look, I just look, for me, a lot of this, I get it, what's going on with BMNR and Tom Lee and all that, but for me, an asset like this, I really respect technicals a lot because I don't have a lot of underlying fundamental conviction for the long term. It's like a momentum play for me more than anything. So when we broke below the 20 DMA here, I bailed on all my ETH holdings. And I said to myself, and I told the community, I said, when we break back above the 20 DMA, I'm back in. So I'm doing that. Maybe I'm ending up buying high, but I'm back in BMNR and Galaxy because of ETH above the 20 DMA. I might be making a mistake here. I might be getting chopped up and chopped out. Who knows? What are your thoughts on that, either of you?
Yeah, look, I have a little bit of a legacy holding in SBET, but otherwise I've been kind of out of these ETH plays just because there's so many of them now. I'm actually kind of intrigued by what's going on with TON.
Yeah, I know.
So I added a little bit there in advance of this executive chairman's sort of roadmap for the future that comes out on Friday. But yeah, look, it's definitely.
So back above the 20 DMA, does that not interest you here?
No, it does actually. It does, and I wasn't paying much attention to the market yesterday or last week as I was moving, and I was actually surprised to see ETH back down here at 4,200. So, this is a material move, and maybe this time we actually break that 5,000 on the way up. But
let's do it.
It would be great, but again, I look at these risk assets as you do, as sort of a bellwether for the market. And, seasonality wise, I'm not sure it's the right time.
I know. It's just a very narrow plan back above the 20 DMA. I might be wrong, but I wonder if gold exploding, is that eventually going to, that's been the thesis for such a long time. And I don't know that it's ever played out that crypto would, follow gold and be that alternative currency or doomsday currency or whatever. I'm not sure that that's playing out yet, but I hear people talking about it all the time. Every day I hear it.
Bitcoin, not really a thesis for
It's like
ETH,
gold
right?
is up, crypto is going to go up. I hear it all the time, and I don't know that that's been proven true yet. But anyway, so TonX, you touched on it a little bit. This is
let's also talk about the news that came out this morning with it, though. There's more companies starting to adapt this, which could drive up the price of Ton.
PRTG. All right. So anyway, this is for those who don't know, Telegram has their own currency, their own digital currency called Toncoin, TON. And up until today, TonX is a big, crypto treasury strategy for that coin. And they own about 3% of all of the Toncoin within Telegram. Telegram's huge. It's like 1 billion users. It's a whole ecosystem by itself. Up until today, they were the only ones doing this strategy. Another one was reported this morning, PRTG. PRTG, they're going to do a ticker symbol change, and they're also going to do this Ton treasury strategy. I think this is actually going to bring attention to TonX and maybe send that higher. By the way, I think it's trading right around NAV. I don't think there's a premium for this. TonX.
No, he said on the small cap show yesterday the NAV was around $13, so it's actually trading a discount to that right now. It's 11.87, I think, last tick.
So just full disclosure, that on that small cap show where yesterday it was a sponsored position. He was sponsoring us and Wolf Financial for a talk yesterday. We don't have an ongoing relationship with them, but that particular show was sponsored. Just for full disclosure, I did pick some up, but it's hard really to pick it up because for whatever reason, Fidelity has a block on it right now, and you have to call in to buy it, which is really freaking annoying. So it's hard for me to really get involved too much, and that's also going to be a tailwind. There's a lot of money at Fidelity. So once Fidelity lifts this block, which they will at some point, I'm sure, then that'll be another tailwind. So as you also just mentioned, Friday after the close, there's going to be a chairman's message.
And there are options listed on this thing as well.
And someone bought them today. Yeah, I'm going to look at those.
Stock through TD, but I can't buy the options through TD, which is...
Oh, you know what? Thank you for saying... I think even though TonX is not available on Fidelity, I believe the options are. Yes, I believe the options are available on Fidelity. And in fact, let me see. I'm going to try to buy it right now. What? Stupid error? That doesn't make sense. All right. Anyway, I got to look into that. But anyway, yeah, that's
really cratering here.
It's what?
Market's really cratering here. SOXS is going through. I see a big downtick in NVIDIA, AMD. Q's rolling over here.
Nice.
That's
basically what I predicted this morning. I said, do not be tempted to chase this. Wow. That was a good macro note. In fact, I'm going to read it. This is what I said on the macro note this morning. I said here, I said all the good stuff with Google and Apple. And then I'm like, that said, we are not ready to step back from our yellow alert. Gold continued to surge overnight amidst a global bond sell-off. Ethereum continues to trade below the 20-day MA. Not true. CTA positioning remains at max long levels. Margin debt is pushed above $1 trillion, and looming tariff refunds could add further pressure to U.S. bonds. Layer on a heavy slate of economic data this week amidst a seasonally treacherous September, and risks for another leg down remain elevated. Where did I put? Here we go. In the intermediate term, we continue to view pullbacks as attractive buying opportunities, but in the near term, we're concerned we will see a wildly choppy or down month, making it dangerous to chase strength or add on positive news events such as last night's Google ruling. That was the money line right there in the macro note this morning, turning out to be good advice right now as we see the markets turning over.
Look, we flirted with the 50 on the Qs all day yesterday, and like you said, it was only the Google news that took it, sharply higher again. So,
and it looks like it may be getting rejected at the 20. The SPY looks healthier though, for sure.
I'm scared to pick up these TonX calls. There's no volume.
What's that?
So there's no volume on these TonX calls.
Yeah, it's not even letting me, but I don't know. It's giving me a stupid error. It says the limit price entered is too far away from the last trade, which is not even true. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Market makers.
Yeah, I'd have to call Fidelity to see.
Yeah, volumes are extremely low.
Somehow
Some guys in our community are getting fills though, so
yeah.
Someone got filled at $2 on one of the contracts.
Yeah, that could be fun. Let's see. I got to play games with Fidelity. Oh, I got in at 75 cents. Woohoo! Wow. I got in at 75 cents on TONX calls. 1250 calls. I like that, man. September 19th, 1250 calls. That's wild.
I got to find a way to buy those, I guess.
What'd you get filled at, Ben?
75 cents.
I have to follow
that. Speculative for sure. I don't know what the hell's going to happen next week, but I got more at 70 cents. Oh, snap.
Ben's just getting filled out here, crushing it. Let's go.
I'm probably going to lose this money. I don't advise buying call options, generally speaking, but I do it sometimes. All right. So what's up, Brian? Filled more at 70 cents. They're trading at 70 cents reliably now. Like it's 1250. Have you heard of Ton, Ryan?
No.
TonX. Telegram.
Nope.
Yeah, Telegram has their own currency. It's pretty well. I mean, I like the thesis. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Good stuff here today, folks. Yet again. Ben, glad to see you. Glad the eye surgery went all right.
Thanks. All right. Good to see you too.
All right, gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
That is Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather from Story Trading. Be sure to check out their Discord. They are crushing it. Looks like they're doing a lot of trading here today, too. Good stuff, folks. We'll see them next week. Right now, I'm going to send you over to Kevin at Futures Fever. You don't have to go anywhere. Just sit tight and enjoy. We'll be back on Pre-Market Playbook tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Wednesday.